Texas. Wonderful to have Heather Cox on the team yet again, and she's with Nick Saban. Heather?
Chris, hello. Thank you so much. Coach, yesterday you said that who starts this game doesn't necessarily mean you've named a starter at quarterback. So what is your plan tonight at the quarterback position?
Well, we just want to see two guys play at quarterback. Jake's going to start the game, and, Cooper will get an opportunity at some point. But we're just going to see how it goes.
What do you hope to learn by using both quarterbacks throughout the evening?
Really want to see how they play in the game. Both guys have done extremely well in practice. They both deserve an opportunity, so we'll see who takes it to the game the best.
Nick, we'll let you get to it. Thank you. Chris?
That's a live audition, Kirk, against a very good defense. There's Paul Christ, born in Madison, played quarterback for the Badgers. His dad was an assistant there. Went to Pittsburgh, where he was 19-19 as a head coach the last 3 years. And now his debut tonight. And he's got Joel Stave at quarterback, a guy that he recruited as a walk-on, but he came back a few years later to find a quarterback who'd been through a lot.
No question about it. And what an impressive young man to fight through everything that he has been through. We'll see how he gets, what kind of start he gets off to tonight. There's a great leader, Michael Caputo, who's an all-conference safety a year ago. On the other side, Reggie Ragland. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart will turn to him this year without some of the leaders they had a year ago. He now needs to step up and kind of be that alpha dog, so to speak, on that defense.
Ragland, Ryan Kelly, the center, and Ashawn Robinson. They had about 850 pounds among the three captains out there at the coin toss. But Wisconsin won the toss, and they've deferred. So Alabama will get the football first. The two kickers tonight, one of them born in Poland, Adam Griffith for the Tide, and the Brazilian-born Rafael Gaglianone will take the field goals, but Andrew Endicott will kick things off for Wisconsin. And we will get a look at Jake Coker, his long-awaited start. This is Kenyon Drake for the Tide at the 4. Good coverage, and the Badgers pin him back inside the 20. Coker was beaten out at Florida State by Jameis Winston. He was beaten out last year at Alabama by Blake Sims. He is the starter, but it doesn't seem like the job is that firmly his, if you listen to Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban has told us, along with Lane Kiffin throughout this month, that it's been a close battle. Both have done some good things. Both have left them a little bit questioning maybe if they're the answer, and because of that, let's see how they perform in front of 70 or 80,000 people and millions of people at home watching. This is the spotlight, the stage. You want to see how guys perform.
No preseason in college football. You hope to sort this out against a lesser opponent, a less confusing defense. Drake in motion. They hand it off to Derrick Henry, and the big fella bangs straight ahead.
Let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players when Alabama has the football, and I'm going to stay right in that backfield. Derrick Henry against that big offensive line. He's the guy that they're going to just try to test the inside, the interior of Wisconsin's defense. And Kenyon Drake, great to see him back. They'll move him around all over the place. And for Wisconsin, it's the two outside linebackers, Schobert and Beagle.
Big Henry again. He and T.J. Yeldon had similar stats last year. And now Henry, who was the #1 running back recruit, high school player in 2012, heavily hyped when he got there. This is his year. 3rd and short. Tide are playing quick. Henry again. Very tough to stop him downhill. First down at the 32.
Well, this Alabama offense, there's one thing that they are confident in, and that's running the football. Behind an offensive line, again, much like Wisconsin, they're breaking in some new starters themselves, and because of that, you're going to see Wisconsin to really cheat up into the line of scrimmage and see if they can help out against that big, powerful offensive line.
Badgers have a man who's in the Alabama backfield and shaken up. The trainers checking him out. That is Michael Caputo, the senior captain, the strong safety, a guy they cannot afford to not have in there.
No, he's the leader. I mentioned he was all conference a year ago. Good to see him jogging off.
28th start tonight. The guy who's got a good reputation of playing through pain. He looks like he's got
blood.
Yeah,
he's got some blood coming down.
Even through
with the plastic, he's got the shield. Yeah. But Alabama 3 plays, 3 straight runs. Talked about the confidence that they have. Now you start to wonder, okay, Coker after 3 runs, do you mix in a quick throw? Something to just kind of get him settled into the game.
In the pistol formation, something that Lane Kiffin told us he'll use a lot this year. Here's Henry again. Good penetration by the Badgers as they smother him. Arthur Goldberg, the junior defensive end, got there quickly.
Goldberg with a tremendous effort here. Keep in mind he's going up against Cam Robinson. He deals with a double team, sheds it, including Robinson, and is there to make the play close to the line of scrimmage.
Badgers bring pressure. Coker's first pass attempt as a starter is a completion, but a very short gain as Robert Foster, the sophomore receiver, was hammered by Sojourn Shelton, the corner.
Well, Coker with a little bit of confusion there, a little indecisive. He was literally looking over to Lane Kiffin, and a new thing with Alabama this year is they are actually flipping up cards to show the play, and he was looking over at those cards until the last second. You can see Lane, the frustration there because of the miscommunication.
Didn't take Nick long to visit offensive coordinator. Did it. Third down. They need 8. Play action. Coker cannot escape. They got a good pass rusher. That's the outside linebacker, Joe Schobert, on the sack.
And they rush 3 here. This is a veteran secondary that's going to disguise a lot of coverage. And to your left over here, watch the pressure come. And he's going up against one of the best offensive tackles in Cam Robinson. Joe Schobert is a high school tailback, has emerged as one of the better pass rushers, not only for Wisconsin, but in the Big Ten. He showed what he could do last year against LSU. And here early when Coker makes a throw, Schobert again in the backfield for the Badgers.
Look at the strength to make an arm tackle on a big quarterback.
And you see him go through Cam Robinson.
The Badger defense forces a punt from J.K. Scott, the brilliant sophomore kicker. In traffic, Alex Erickson decides not to make a fair catch and is hit immediately at the 35 by Minka Fitzpatrick, one of the true freshman corners.
It looked like he got hit before he caught the ball.
Joel Stave and the Badgers take over next. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven, the official aerial provider of Saturday Night Football. So we'll detail a key injury on the Wisconsin defense momentarily as the offense takes over for their first possession of the season. And Joel Stave showing a smile, Kirk. What a difference from a year ago when he was unable to throw a ball and couldn't help his team in that game in Houston against LSU. His 29th start. Corey Clement is deep. You got a couple of fullbacks, and it's Clement. A little crease and a quick burst across the 40.
Let's take a look now with Wisconsin with the football and Chick-fil-A impact players for the Badgers. Of course, we know that they want to run the football with Clement. Physical back, can bring a lot to the table, take some of the pressure off the passing game. When they throw, Alex Erickson is a very physical receiver. Made some plays last year, and Jaron Reed is number 90, kind of the leader, the alpha of that defensive line, the talented defensive line for Alabama.
Clement again. He and Melvin Gordon set the record for a running back duo last year, more than 3,500 yards. A lot of them were Melvin. But the offensive line, there are 3 new faces up there.
Yeah, Volts in the middle and Merritt's the left tackle are the 2 that have played a lot of football. The other 3 are taking their first snaps tonight as far as meaningful snaps. A freshman, the left guard, Dieter. Again, all these guys talented, but you wonder, how do you respond, not only in this environment with the crowd noise, but also going up against a very talented group of defenders.
See what that O-line can do on third down. Badgers spread the field. Dare Ogunbowale is the running back to the left of Stave. Plenty of time, and he flips it short. Wally makes the catch and has a first down in Alabama territory. He's an excellent, versatile back who just got a scholarship in the spring.
And it's a matchup that you like if you're Wisconsin, with a running back up against a linebacker or kind of a nickel back. Here you have Foster in coverage, and just a good job of getting separation. And you could see with Stavi, he's in rhythm there like any quarterback. Looks very poised. He's making his 29th start tonight for this Wisconsin offense.
And again, as they test the middle of that Alabama defensive line. Stavi has had close to 5,000 career passing yards. But again, even though he started games over 4 seasons, there have been some ups and downs. He's had to be very resilient.
Yeah, last year he went through a very, very bizarre set of circumstances where even though he was a starter the year before, I guess the term, for better or worse, is kind of the yips. You know, you hear about it in baseball sometimes. You hear about it in golf, and he could not throw the football accurately. And Tanner McAvoy stepped in, and by the 5th game, he had settled down and was able to get back to playing quarterback.
Wait a minute, heavy traffic with all those big Alabama bodies. You can't find a bigger, more athletic front in the country than the Tide.
Well, I think because Alabama is so confident in their corners and the secondary matching up against Wisconsin, they basically want to see if Stavi and the receivers can beat them. And because of that, they're just going to pin their ears back and do everything they can to clog the middle and just eat off those blocks and free those linebackers up.
Doesn't get any more clogged within the middle.
No,
there are about 8 jerseys there.
I don't care if you're Melvin Gordon, Monte Ball, Ron Dane, no one's running through that.
So another 3rd down, they need 6. Tide rush 4. Stavi gets it away, delivers high. He's trying to get the ball to Erickson, well covered by Cyrus Jones, who had designs of a pick 6. 4th down.
Slow to get his head turned around, and these receivers and tight ends have got to understand, especially on 3rd down, Alabama's going to bring pressure. You've got to get back. The quarterback's going to get back, and that ball is coming out. And you've got to hit your point and get your head turned around and be ready for the football. There's not a lot of time for Stavi to sit around and look for another receiver. Ball's coming out fast.
Jones is their best corner. He's also their punt returner. You might see him play a little offense tonight. He's been working at receiver in camp. Drew Meyer sit high with backspin, and a fair catch by Jones just inside the 10-yard line. So both defenses off to a good start. Scoreless midway 1st quarter. Second possession for Alabama with the sack of Coker that ended the first possession. They netted only 4 yards, and now they start at the 10-yard line. See how cautious Lane Kiffin is with Jake Coker at quarterback. He's out there for the 2nd series. We do, of course, expect to see Cooper Bateman, the sophomore from Utah, perhaps as early as the 1st or 2nd quarter.
Yeah. Be surprised if we didn't.
Henry in the pistol. They fake it to him. Coker on the move, fires to a wide open receiver, and it's Foster who's across the 30 for a 1st down. So they do trust the quarterback, and he delivers a dart.
Yeah, he really wanted to throw the football to his tight end, Howard, but Wisconsin took him away. So give him credit for coming off of Howard and looking to the backside and eventually finding Foster. That time showing patience and eventually finding his guy.
Picks up 22 yards. Again, they fake it to Henry, and his 1st down throw. Coker across the middle, has a man wide open. Catch inside Wisconsin territory. That's Richard Mullaney, the senior from California.
Well, Michael Caputo out of the game. Wisconsin's defensive scheme in the first possession was all about attacking the line of scrimmage, and the adjustment this 2nd series is to get the ball in the hands of Coker and let him try to attack them through the air.
He's going to throw it again. This time flips it off short to Henry.
Same play.
Can't make a man miss. Heather Cox with an injury update from the Badgers.
Yeah, you can tell the Badgers are missing Michael Caputo in their secondary. He is out for the game with a head injury. Actually stood up, went to the wrong huddle. The medical staff immediately took his helmet away. Caputo was frustrated, pleading his case to no avail. Guys, remember this. He was the one, when Chris came on campus, he asked every player, who's the most valuable? Who can't you go without? Every player put Caputo in at least one of those categories. He's sorely missed.
This is Kenyon Drake with his first carry, and he's dropped for a loss as a flag comes in. Joe Schobert, who's having a big start to this game, was there in a hurry.
Boy, Joe Schobert is a tremendous athlete at outside linebacker. Does everything for you.
Kind of an offbeat guy, a little quiet.
Yeah.
Likes to read Harry Potter books.
Holding, number 94, offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
We got Dakota Ball, the tight end.
Let's go back to Caputo, because this was a little scary. You know, he got hit, he gets up, and he's patting Cam Robinson. Wisconsin is to the right. He's now in the backfield of the Alabama team. He's lined up in the backfield, and Cam Robinson's kind of pointing to him like, we got a situation here, and the officials recognize it and come in and then eventually take him over. So now Dakota Dixon steps in. Not only you lose the experience, but more importantly, as you just heard from Heather, the leadership and what he brings to the table, and it also affected the way Alabama is now attacking Wisconsin through the air.
A decisive move on that sideline, though. Caputo is a competitor. He thinks he has a very high threshold for pain. Western PA guy, a captain, desperately wanted to go in there, but this is the right thing to do when your faculties have left you there.
Yeah. They declined the penalty. Sets up now a 3rd and long. And remember, these defensive ends, Beagle and Schobert, they can get after the quarterback. They'll be coming off the edge.
Drake motions out, so an empty backfield. And the Badgers bringing some pressure. Coker gets it away quickly. Foster has some room. Slips a tackle, dives near the marker at the 36. It'll be very close.
Yeah, the spot is interesting. The Alabama crowd kind of reacting to the spot.
Short.
Half a yard short, but Alabama not hesitating. They're already lined up. The quarterback sneak. He's back in the pistol for Derrick Henry.
You would expect number 2 to get the football. Doesn't mean you can stop him. Henry breaking free, heading to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Needed a little, and they got a lot. 37 yards for the new stud in the Tide backfield. He's actually been a stud, but now he's the guy, the starter. Adam Griffith. And the Tide march 90 yards for the first touchdown of the season.
And a different look from Coker, where he's given the keys to the car, so to speak. He gets a chance to open the offense up a little bit. And then on 4th and short, Wisconsin in almost a goal line defense. Everybody up close to the line of scrimmage. And if you don't make that tackle right there, that initial arm tackle, there's no one left to slow down the big fella. He takes it all the way to the house for a touchdown.
Let's play 2 this weekend. Monday night, off to Blacksburg. The Buckeyes will try to avenge the only loss of last season. It's on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern time. It should be a crazy environment in Lane Stadium.
Can't wait.
Ohio State, another team with some quarterback issues. If you hadn't heard, there's a quarterback situation there in Columbus.
But that's more of a little bit of a different situation. We have 2 guys that are pretty experienced and proven.
You had 3 until Braxton Miller shifted H-back. It'll be fun. Griffith to kick it off. In the end zone, Latrell Jamerson. Has to work hard just to get back to the 17-yard line. The All-State Saturday Night Football bus has joined us here in Arlington. Our place to check out the games this afternoon. The All-State gets good sweepstakes for a chance to win $100,000 plus a VIP trip to the All-State Sugar Bowl and the National Championship game. Plus weekly prizes throughout the season.
That's where we load up the TVs and sit back and watch some games throughout the afternoon. Some interesting action this afternoon.
Wisconsin trying to get a big win for the Big Ten, which is off to a little bit of a rough start. Northwestern got a nice win for the conference this afternoon over Stanford. Some of the other results not so good. Play action. Stave delivers a strike across the middle. And it's one wheelright at the 33-yard line. So a nice, accurate throw and a slam.
And, you know, we saw Alabama give Coker a chance to throw the ball. He's 4 for 4 on that last series, open things up, and now giving Stave the same opportunity. Instead of waiting till 3rd down to try to execute, when the defense really is going to get exotic and put pressure on you, try on 1st and 10. When the trend is run the football, you mix in some early down play action. A good call by Paul Chris.
And now Clement tests the right side and bangs into heavy traffic again. An update to Bristol. Cassidy Hubbard.
Thanks, Chris. Taco Bell studio update. Texas Notre Dame after Malik Zaire TD pass. Josh Adams runs it in from 14 yards out to put number 11 Notre Dame up 14-0 over the Longhorns. Chris, Herbie, back to you.
Quick start for the Irish, who many believe are quietly going to have a big season.
Yeah, I think they could be a 10-win team. It's a challenging schedule. They have some tough ones on there.
Clement got 2 on 1st down. And then Stave in the pocket, flips it short. Clement makes the catch and is forced out at the 40. It'll be 3rd and 2.
You know, with Clement, if you can't run the football effectively, you just still want to be able to get him touches and do what you can to be able to try to get him in space where he can make some people miss.
Clement's a guy that had a big Outback Bowl game against Auburn, and he's been getting lots of advice, taking over for Gordon as the feature back. And so the best advice, just be yourself. Don't try to be Melvin Gordon. Don't try to do too much. And they convert on 3rd and 2. The line of scrimmage very crowded as Reggie Love comes in motion. And they're not going to get there. Clement is stacked up nothing as DJ Petway and company create a 4th down.
Petway goes up against the right tackle, Hayden Beagle. Watch him on the right side. Watch him shed the block. He's going to be right here. He's going to take on this blocker, and he's able to get him off of him and make the play. Engages, throws him, makes the play, and that's what Alabama really prides itself on. You know, the thing that's bothered Alabama is the spread, tempo, athletic quarterback that can run and throw. You run into the teeth of an Alabama defense, you better be really good up front on the offensive line.
Here's the punt, and Cyrus Jones. This time, no fair catch at the 15. And knocked down quickly. Excellent coverage by Wisconsin. But the Alabama offense up by a touchdown. Goes back to work late 1st quarter. It's a beautiful national championship trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. Earned by the Buckeyes on this very field a year ago. Semifinals will be right here and in Miami. New Year's Eve this year. The championship game January 11th in Glendale, Arizona.
That second drive for not just the Alabama offense where they put a touchdown on the board, but I think for Jacob Coker, who came into this game trying to prove himself to his teammates, to his coaches, that he's the guy. Talked about Cooper Bateman possibly getting an opportunity, but that last drive, he was 4 for 4. He's 5 for 5 on the night. I just felt that they were more aggressive with how Lane Kiffin called the drive, and it gave him a chance to just kind of turn it loose a little bit more.
Kiffin compared Coker's skill set to Matt Castle, just a classic pocket quarterback with a real big arm. We'll give it to the big back. Henry's going to be very busy tonight and all season.
And because of the injury to Caputo and because of Alabama scoring in their last drive, I really feel, even though it's early in this game, the way Wisconsin's struggling a bit offensively, this is a big drive. I think it's a big drive as far as the feel and the flow and the momentum of this game.
Dave Aranda, who's the 3rd-year defensive coordinator, he was convinced to stay at Wisconsin when Gary Anderson went to Oregon State. He says he likes to dictate to the offense. Well, they're not dictating to Alabama right now. Drake slashes free, gets a 1st down. This is Kenyon Drake, the senior who broke his leg against Ole Miss a year ago, but is going to be counted on with his versatility this year.
Well, especially with the loss of Amari Cooper and company. Drake went down with that horrific injury last year in the Ole Miss game, and this is just an awful thing. Boy, you just wondered if he'd get back. And not only is he back, and coaches say that he might be even stronger and faster than he was prior to the injury, and he's got a big role in this offense, not just as a tailback, but almost like a Reggie Bush in a Lane Kiffin offense, moving him around out to receiver and being able to really provide a lot of opportunities for him.
Henry Well strung out. This is a good defensive play as Leon Jacobs, one of the inside linebackers that Kiffin said is going to be a key tonight as these big backs try to challenge the middle of that Wisconsin defense. Look at the weight on Henry and the speed of Drake.
It's kind of like a thunder and lightning situation. 6'3", 242 pounds. We saw him already take one to the end zone. But then you have Drake, who's a 4-4 guy, and a guy that you want to be able to try to get out on the edge. So they bring something different for defenses to be concerned about.
Coker fakes it to him. Pressured. Escapes for now, but now will be brought down. A huge loss, and a flag comes in. Vince Beagle and Joe Schober, both outside linebackers, got there, but a flag thrown right near where the tackle was made.
I don't know if they're going to look at the Badger defender that came in a little bit late. Looks like Connor Sheehy, maybe. I don't know if he made much contact. I don't know if it was the intent. See, he doesn't have that ability, obviously, that Blake Sims has to keep the play alive. Did you see the player, Sheehy, how he came in? I don't know if they're going to call that.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 94, defense, 15-yard penalty.
Well, I don't know.
First down.
I don't know.
That wasn't much. The Big 12 crew attacking on 15 after the sack.
If he would have made contact, then you could say you get it. But I don't know. Was it by the? I mean, he brought his right hand down, but the helmet doesn't make it.
It hit him in the face.
Oh my gosh, Chris! My gosh.
Ooh.
Well, they actually going to go super slow-mo. It looks bad.
It was a silly thing to do.
Yeah. And a huge call, by the way. That would have been 3rd and long.
And try the middle with Drake.
But I think a microcosm there of the issue and the challenge that Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban are looking at. Because let's face it, Blake Sims last year, there was only one school that converted in the top 5 in the country on 3rd and 4th down. It was Alabama. It wasn't just Lane Kiffin's play calling. It was Blake Sims' creativity, keeping plays alive, scrambling for a first, keeping a play alive, and finding an open receiver. With Jacob Coker, you don't get those opportunities.
You don't think Jake's going to rush for 479 yards game?
No.
7 touchdowns? Coker, a second down throw. Flashes the big arm. Down the middle. Kelvin Ridley, the talented true freshman receiver. Well defended by Shelton.
Great closing speed here by Shelton. And there's Caputo getting fired up even from the sideline. He was beaten at the line of scrimmage. He gets by him, and he's got an opportunity. The freshman, Ridley, the ball is thrown, but look at the closing speed by the junior from Fort Lauderdale. Shelton gets there and gets his hand on the ball, does not interfere with him in any way, and makes a great play. He had a little bit of a sophomore slump last year, a little bit more technical, playing more zone. They want him to turn it loose and play more man. That was outstanding play there on 2nd down.
3rd and 8. Pressure again on Coker, who backpedals and flips it into heavy traffic. Incomplete. Vince Beagle was pressuring him again. They're leaking through that Alabama offensive line pretty effectively.
Again, they do a good job of creating confusion up front. They show like on one side they're blitzing, and then they come from the other. And with Beagle on one side and Schobert on the other, they do a good job of making the offensive line get confused on a pre-snap read about where is the pressure going to come from. Is it 58 or is it 47? That time 47 uses his athletic ability to get to the quarterback.
So after a 5-for-5 start, a couple of incompletions for Coker. And J.K. Scott, who was eyeballing this giant screen yesterday at the walkthrough, because it was just hit by Shane Leckler of the Texans in an exhibition game. If anybody in college can do it, it might be this kid. But instead, it's off the side of his foot. You keep it away from Erickson, and it gets a nice roll down inside the 25.
I told you I thought that was kind of a big series there for both Alabama's offense. An opportunity to get up by 14. Looks like we have a flag out at the 50-yard line. It was a big stop by Wisconsin to get the ball back.
It sure was. If they did get out of, we'll check the marker here, but if they survive this 15-yard penalty, it would be good for Paul Chryst' team. He was born in Madison. His first memories of football, watching the Badgers play Nebraska at Camp Randall. His dad was a legendary high school coach and a Badger assistant. He was a quarterback special teamer at Wisconsin, played against Harbaugh when Jim was a quarterback at Michigan. And now back as head coach.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 55 to the kicking team. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. That was number 55's first unsportsmanlike foul.
It's Cole Mazza, the long snapper, flagged.
Paul Chris is back in Madison, and opportunity in his first game to go up against Nick Saban, who's fired up about that call, but went over to Pitt, had a chance to really learn what it's like to be a head coach, and used everything that he learned in Pitt, came back to his alma mater, and I don't know if there's a guy more fired up after some of the volatility of that head coaching position with Brett Bielema. We saw him, and of course last year he's fired up to be the head man in Madison, that's for sure.
He didn't show it, but he is fired up inside.
Yeah.
Stabia rolls out, flips it short, and the catch is made by Derek Watt from the famous Watt football family. We were told big brother JJ would be in the house tonight. There's Derek and TJ Watt.
Yeah, I actually saw him on the field before the game with a number of Houston Texans that came over with him. But Chris, throwing out the Derek Watt, trying to find a tight end, maybe Alex Erickson, maybe Tanner McAvoy. They're going to have to throw on some early downs to eventually try to open up the running game. You're not going to be able to run tonight and then try to go play action. It's going to have to be reversed for Wisconsin.
So, the end of the first quarter here in Arlington. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC stations. Crimson Tide, a 90-yard touchdown drive. That's the only score so far. This Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week. We're going to begin the second quarter with the Badgers at their own 40-yard line. Stavia's 4 of 5, Kirk, but only for 32 yards. Nothing downfield yet.
We were just talking at the break how, other than Wheelwright made a catch, none of the receivers yet have made a reception. And again, we said going into the break there that they're going to have to make some plays in that passing game to open up some running lanes. Alabama's attacking the line of scrimmage.
Stabia again flips it short. Catch by Clement, who moves into Alabama territory at the 45. He's worked hard on his hands and his receiving skills to be used in this Christ offense like this.
And again, that's what you're talking about. And Paul Chris knows that. You need to be able to try to flood a zone and leak out a back, whether it's Watt as a fullback or Clement, who's shown an ability to make a play. The tight ends. I think it's going to be tough sledding with the receivers against the corners from Alabama. But you can make some headway on the inside, and then you can get back to trying to run the football, because it makes that Alabama defense think about some other things.
Two fullbacks in front, and they hand it off inside. Again, trying to challenge the strength of the Alabama defense, and that's Taiwan Deal. Welcome to college football. Redshirt freshman at a DeMatha High School, and it's a tough assignment to try to gain yards in the middle there.
Yeah, Dan Volz has a big job tonight. The center who has played a ton of football. He's got a lot of inexperience around him, most notably on both sides of it. You know, the only other player up front to play a lot of football is 61, the left tackle, Merritt's. Everybody else is new, so that Volz is not only trying to deal with a lot of size from Alabama, see his communication, he's trying to help those guards out and make sure everybody's on the same page.
Volz has to have a good game, the Badger coaching staff feels, and he's facing a lot of fresh bodies. Stabia fires short, battling near the marker, just inside the 40. Catch made by Austin Traylor, the backup tight end.
So the Alabama defense, and the thing that you really are aware of as you prep for this game is you got to win the line of scrimmage, you got to stop the running game, and you got to make the passing game beat you if they're going to beat you. You don't want to give up any big plays. Okay, so now Wisconsin's adjustment is they're kind of dinking and dunking. They're throwing short passes. So now you're going to start to cheat up to those 4 to 8 yard routes. Now Wisconsin's it's going to become more and more challenging, especially on third down, with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban kind of specialize in that.
Badgers are 1 of 3 and they need 3 yards. Play clock at 3. In the flat, catch made. Ogunwale is free and is inside the 30. So Stabia converts, and once again they use the tailback.
Yeah, and this is a great job of really picking him. Watch Foster right here, who has the back coming out of the backfield. He's going to get caught up right here on like a rub. Wheelwright's running his route. The linebacker gets caught up in it, man-to-man coverage, and it gives him just enough room there to be able to throw the football, to be able to pick up the first down. That is a design play there, and well done by Paul Chris.
7 completions, 6 for running backs. Play action fake. Stabia wants to look back across the field, files into traffic, and makes a completion inside the 10 to Traylor. So Traylor getting a chance as Troy Fumagalli, the tight end, is nursing an ankle, and a big catch, 1st and goal.
Yeah, he actually wanted to throw the ball here, coming down the sideline. They're trying to get the defense to just kind of get lulled to sleep after the fake there to deal. See right here, he's trying to get the ball thrown, but good coverage here. So instead, he ends up coming off to his tight end, Traylor, who does a good job of not only holding on to the football, but handling the contact. And now Wisconsin inside that 10-yard line.
And Clement is back in the game, the lone tailback. He's got it. Reggie Ragland grabs him and wrestles him down. One with Ashawn Robinson.
I went to a scrimmage a couple weeks ago in Tuscaloosa and watched a goal line package, and Reggie Ragland was right in the middle of it at 6'2", 252 pounds. He is physical. All conference a year ago, kind of the leader. The true freshman running back, Damian Harris, must have run into Reggie Ragland in that first unit defense 25 times. And Ragland will make you earn it. Tough to run on them inside this area.
Instead, they'll try to throw it. Stave flush and just throws it away. Third down.
This is an area where Wisconsin struggled a year ago, and this is an area that this man right here, Paul Chryst, specializes in. This is something he really prides himself in. And boy, when he had Russell Wilson, they'd get inside the red zone. It was almost just lock and load. They're putting points on the board, most often a touchdown. This is something that they know. They don't want to just score. They don't want to just get points. Paul Chryst wants touchdowns, because you wonder how many times you're going to get down in this area against Alabama. Man-to-man on the outside.
Stave, look left, right, fires middle. Touchdown, late signal. But Alex Erickson, the top receiver from a year ago, went down low to get it.
And we have not called his name the entire game. This time, a great effort and a catch by Erickson. He's on the ground, Chris. He's down.
That's all hands.
I mean, that's a play in the backyard. Go to the goal line, fall down, underthrow it.
Does he maintain total control as the ball hits the ground?
So, yeah, and if you have possession of the ball can touch the ground as long as you have possession of it. The ruling is the ground helping you to gain possession?
Allen Eck might delay to see if they buzz down from the replay booth, but it's a touchdown.
The ground did not look like it was aiding him in making that reception.
So Rafael Gaglianone, Brazilian-born kicker who was sent to Chattanooga, Tennessee to play high school football and soccer, knocks it through. Answering drive from the Badgers. We tie it at 7. Aerial coverage again provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven, the official aerial provider of Saturday Night Football. So the unsportsmanlike conduct on the punt moved the ball to the 37. Then Wisconsin goes 63 yards in 9 plays. Stave to Erickson for the tying touchdown, and a terrific effort, because he was tackled basically, Kirk, and still managed to make a great catch.
Great focus.
So a conversation in the break there between Saban and Kiffin. You wonder what was exchanged as the Tide offense goes back to work. Only 71 yards for Bama, and only 15 on the ground so far. You factor in the sacks. Drake will bring it out. And he's knocked down just across the 10. Excellent coverage so far by the Badgers special teams.
Fumagalli, the tight end. I talked about Alabama being in man on third down. They're actually in zone. They show man, they go to zone. Fumagalli clears it, and then here's Erickson coming underneath. So the linebackers have to sink. With Fumagalli getting vertical, they sink just enough, but he gets tied up with the freshman Fitzpatrick and goes down. But what I love is Stave on third down experience throws it low, where his receiver has a chance to go down and make a play. He's 6 of 7 on that drive, converted 2 big third downs, and also found 5 different receivers. They kind of spread things out between the backs, tight ends, and also the receiver there, Erickson, on that last throw.
All 4 Bama possessions have started with very poor field position, and They're back at their own 12-yard line. Coker a first down throw in the flat as a flag comes down. Drake nowhere to run, and he's wrestled out by Shelton.
Offsides on Wisconsin. Mistiming that blitz.
Offside, number 53. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
T.J. Edwards, the linebacker, a little eager. ESPN College Football. Stream every game live at home or on the go. Simply download the Watch ESPN app or visit watchespn.com. Mr. Herbstreit could not function without the Watch ESPN app on every device.
It's great.
It is.
You kidding me? If you like college football, you better get that out.
The motion, the tight end Howard in to help block, but there's nowhere for Henry to run. Just on pure muscle, he gets back to the line of scrimmage with a good job there by Chikwe Obasai.
That time they timed up their blitz a lot better. Again, this is an active defense. They're breaking in some new linebackers. Defensive line wants to chew up those offensive linemen, demand double teams, and try to free up the backers. Not just Schobert and Beagle on the outside, but Chris, you talked earlier in the telecast, Leon Jacobs, who we just saw a little earlier, number 32. T.J. Edwards, who was offsides, 53, and also Chris Orr, true freshman. They're very, very young in the interior. So far, holding up pretty well.
Henry breaks free, muscles for a first down to the 25.
Well, one thing that's different, we see it all over the country, but you don't see it in Alabama. Lane Kiffin now has gone to the Cards. Alabama, of all places, would you ever think that you would see them with Cards trying to get their plays in with tempo?
What do we got here? The Seattle Supersonics, the old school logo. Oh, wow, the Tasmanian Devil play. Which one are we going to call?
I'm excited to see what this one might be.
I don't know if it was the Sonics or the Tasmanian Devil, but they handed straight ahead. And Henry muscles out to the 39.
Nice job at the left side of the offensive line, the double team, and then getting up to the linebacker. And I'll tell you, Derrick Henry, for a man at 242 pounds, you give him a chance to build up his momentum. He has some speed, and he gets to that second level.
75 yards already on 9 carries. Coker a first down throw, lobs it to the sideline, and a leaping pass as a flag comes in. Darius Stewart went up for it.
That's maybe an offensive pass interference.
Darius Hillary, the top corner for the Badgers, was defending, and it will come back.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of, and this is part of the inexperience, but he just kind of used his left arm that time to just push Hillary beyond.
Number 13, offense. 15-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Stewart is a sophomore, Kirk, who only caught 12 passes a year ago, but he's going to be counted on to be productive this year.
And look at the left arm, just pushing the defender Hillary away. That full extension there, and the extension is what the official caught.
You can tell which folks are ready for Alabama because they're booing loudly now as it's a 15-yard penalty that moves the ball all the way back inside the 23. Drake, nothing there. Knocked down quickly after a short gain by Goldberg, who's been active, and Edwards, the linebacker, helped.
Goldberg probably the most athletic up front. The time he buckled Cam Robinson, the left tackle, got in and got involved in the play, and now you're going to start to see Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, substituting different bodies and trying to get a little bit unique and different with his look. Second long, third long, you're going to try to get pressure and try to give him a different look to try to confuse that offensive line and quarterback.
2nd and 22. Coker looks to throw a screen, lobs it up. Drake has it. Excellent blocking, gets to the edge, crosses the 40. Kenyon Drake breaking free inside the Wisconsin 40. A huge play in the screen game.
And a great call here, knowing that they might bring pressure. They brought a corner to Coker's right, but it's only 4. But Wisconsin late to react, and once 47, Beagle went to the inside. The play loss contained. It freed up Drake to get to the outside and to be able to pick up the first down. There's confusion right now for Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's got about 15 guys out there as Alabama snaps and Coker complete across the middle. And there has to be flags because you can't have that many guys out there. They were trying to switch personnel.
I think that Leon Jacobs had an injury, and it caused a lot of confusion about who was in and who was out. I was surprised Wisconsin did just call a timeout. Yeah. That was a lot of confusion. I don't think there was a player on the defense that really knew what the call was. Not to mention
illegal substitution. Defense. The 12th man did not get off the field before the snap. The penalty is declined. Result of play is the first down.
I don't know if you can have more confusion than we just saw there.
No.
The defense.
He was being kind with 12. I think, like you said, it was more like 14 or 15. Yeah, they went from 1st and 25 to a couple plays later. They're inside the 30-yard line.
It's a 33-yard gain on the screen, and we'll see how often Bama uses tempo. It's not going to be quite like with Blake Sims last year. Kiffin likes to do it, but it's going to be a situational thing with Coker.
Yeah, I think it's a feel, and really how the game is going, the score of the game, how the offense is responding. Jake Coker up to this point, a quarter and a half into the game.
Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds. The game clock will be reset to 7:36.
I think he has to be pretty pleased with himself and the way he has played up to this point. He's 7-9, 102 yards. And more importantly, he hasn't made a lot of mistakes. He doesn't have an interception. Nope. And he just feels like he's in command. Keep in mind, there's Cooper Bateman. We think we'll still get a look tonight. Keep in mind, this is the first meaningful action he's really played in his college career tonight as a senior.
Absolutely. It was just mop-up duty a year ago, basically. Here's a first down throw. Again, clipped short. This is O.J. Howard, the first catch for the fine tight end, and he shows his after-the-catch skills. A first down near the 17.
Well, they're counting on Howard, along with Drake, at least early in the year, to be the difference makers and to be able to try to pick up big gains like that right there. You know, without Amari Cooper, who's going to pick up the slack for all that production that we talked about earlier in this game? And Howard is going to have to be that guy.
Because of Amari Cooper last year, Howard really didn't get a lot of looks. He only had 17 catches, but they expect him to be a much bigger part of the offense.
Well, at 6'6", 242 pounds, he's a matchup nightmare for any defense.
So on first down, Drake is to the right of Coker. Jake has plenty of time, fires short, complete, caught, touchdown, Foster. So a drive that began with a 15-yard penalty ends 88 yards later with a go-ahead touchdown.
Great drive by Coker and the Alabama offense, and a really well-designed play right there by Lane Kiffin. We'll get another look at it, but it was remarkable the way that play opened up, and Coker does a nice job of, again, showing that patience, letting the play develop. Took some time for Foster to come from the left all the way to the right. But the defense lost him in coverage. He's going to come from the left all the way over to the right. You can see the safeties are occupied with the tight ends. They just lost Foster, and it freed him up. And there's Coker's eyes downfield making the read.
And his first career touchdown. Bama back on top by 7. You consider a first-time starting quarterback and very poor field position on every drive. I got to think, Kirk, that Saban and Kiffin are thrilled with touchdown drives of 90 and 88 yards. Coker was 4 for 4 in that drive. He doesn't always look great in practice and scrimmage. That's why he hadn't won the job long ago. But maybe he's one of those guys as a starter with the lights on. It's just starting to click a little bit.
And as the game has gone on, he just seems more and more comfortable.
This is Jamerson at the goal line. Hit quickly and hammered down short of the 20. Badgers back to work, 6:34 before halftime.
Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, and we'll take a look at the two quarterbacks. Joel Stave, 9-11, only 88 yards, but the last time the Badgers had the ball, he made a good throw there on third down to get their only touchdown to Erickson to tie it up. But how about Jake Coker? Questions about the quarterback at Alabama, the way camp has gone. Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin both saying that two quarterbacks, Coker and Bateman both performing well, but tonight, so far, we've seen Jake Coker, especially the last 2 or 3 series, just settle into this game, and he's making some great decisions, and he and Lane Kiffin appear to be in sync at this point in the football game.
At this point, for sure. Badgers could help Stave out by running the ball. They have really struggled there. Just 17 yards in their 8 rushes, none longer than 5 yards. That was on the first play of the game. Stave flips it short. That's Derek Watt. His second catch out across the 20.
And that's really become their passing game. And you might look at that and say, boy, it's not very pretty or sexy. It's not going to get the ball downfield. But you know what? Paul Chryst, smart guy. He's running into a wall when they're running the football on 1st and 10. So if you can get out on the edge and get away from that pressure and dump it off to Watt or dump it off to a back or a tight end and pick up 4, 5, 6 yards, get to 2nd and 4, helps you stay on schedule and gives you a chance.
Ogunbowale is the tailback on 2nd and 4. On the stretch. Stutter step, but again, the pursuit's so quick, they get about 1.5 yards. It'll be another 3rd down. Sean Dion Hamilton grabbed him. Well, Sunday Night Baseball. Pirates and the Cardinals, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Baseball tonight gets things going at 7, followed by Pirates Cards tomorrow night. So what is Chryst going to dial up here in 3rd and 3?
It's going to be
action.
It's going to be tough to run the football. You're going to have to try some kind of play action and leak one of the backs, the 2 up backs into the flat.
Got the freshman deal. They hand it to him.
Wow, they got
surprise, and the freshman muscles near the marker. I think they got it with the spot.
More their power back when they do get into short yardage situations. He brings a little bit more to the table because of his size.
And he be the 2-punch? Because Clement was the 2-punch with Melvin being the 1-punch.
Yeah, I think that's what they're hoping that eventually he becomes. 6'1", 220 pounds. You would think that he is exactly what they need to complement Clement as the year goes on.
Stave pressured and slammed down as they didn't pick up Jonathan Allen, who came flying in.
Now Walker Williams, the right guard, confused. Right here, he steps inside, and the pressure shoots right through that gap. Little miscommunication. This is what happens when you start 3 new offensive linemen. And that's why every single down, Volt's in the middle trying to make sure all 5 guys are on the same page. That time they committed to the left. There's probably a lucky call. They're coming to the left. And then Alabama shot right through the gap between the right guard and the right tackle.
First sack of the night sets up 2nd and 17. Stave, looping throw into traffic. Nice catch made. Erickson, who caught the touchdown earlier, collects a very different kind of throw here.
And I think they confused Stave. I think he was expecting man-to-man, and he might have gotten away with when he went right over the top of Humphrey. I think he thought he was going to be up, and he went over top of him. Peavy was down on the shorter route, number 11. Humphrey came off Peavy. He sank in coverage, and he might have missed that ball by an inch.
Beautiful throw.
No, it was right on the money, but I think he thought the corner would stay up on that receiver in the flat, but he got the ball in.
Ogunbowale, as a flag comes flying out of the defensive secondary. Tackle made at the 46. We'll sort things out and go down to the Bear. The Affleck trivia question, the season debut. Is he going to give us a break early? We're going to start tough.
We'll give you a little bit of a break tonight. And now it's time for tonight's Affleck trivia question. Nick Saban has beaten Wisconsin once as a college head coach. Name each team's leading rusher in that game.
Well, it was a Michigan State.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Bama and
Cedric
Wisconsin.
Irvin. Cedric Irvin. Boom. I got that one. All right. Let's see. Who else would it be?
This penalty, by the way, is a hold. So it marches the Badgers back to the 36.
How about
Not an offense that can afford major penalties too often.
I'm still stuck on the Bears. How about, was at LSU, did he play Wisconsin? In a bowl game, maybe?
You think he tricked it?
I'm going Cedric Irvin on one of them.
I'm focusing on the play.
Yeah,
here.
I know. Yeah, me too. I'm with you.
Bears trying to throw his curveball.
I know. Exactly.
Ogunbowale again. They're testing the strength of this defense with very little success in the middle. All right, Barrett, give it to us. I know you threw a curveball in the dirt.
Now it's time to answer tonight's Aflac trivia question. Kirk, you did get Cedric Irvin, 1996 Michigan State. The other one, Ron Dane.
Well, that was kind of easy.
Well, I tried to give you a nice, easy one, break you into the season, give you some confidence, and get half of it right.
Did you know Ron Dane was going to be here, Felipe?
I did not know that at the time.
Big one tonight. He was a big one.
Big fella.
Feature back. Clement's still not in the game. Moving Guale to the right of Stave on 2nd and 13. Tied rush 4. Looks up it short again. And Erickson gets out to the 48. So it's still going to be 3rd down and about 8. Anderson on the tackle.
Yeah, I think these last two downs, Paul Chryst just trying to get Wisconsin after the penalty. Just try to get in position to be able to convert. Have a legitimate chance to convert on 3rd down. I think he's done that now.
It's amazing, Kirk. This is not a good situation for Bama's defense last year. They were one of the worst teams in the country for teams converting 3rd and long. Right. It's just galls Nick Saban.
Here's Erickson right here.
They clock at 3. You look right that direction. Erickson does make the catch, does not make the 1st down because Eddie Jackson, the safety, was all over him at the 49. 4th and 3.
Eddie Jackson moves from corner to safety along with Geno Mateus-Smith, and it really gives Alabama a lot more flexibility, especially on 3rd down. You've got corners essentially with corner background playing safety, where you can play a lot more man-to-man with those safeties.
Clock is running. You'd figure that on 4th and 3, Wisconsin's going to punt it. They still have the offense on the field.
They're just working that clock.
But Saban choosing not to take a timeout. And Chryst is going to let this thing run down. Let's see if they try to take the delay of game. No, they will spend a timeout. We'll see if they keep the offense on or send the punt team out. Quick timeout in Arlington. Well, after you watch the Buckeyes and the Hokies on Monday night, you can keep it right here to watch your buddy SVP, the premiere of his nightly Sports Center show at midnight, beginning Monday on ESPN. The Badgers do decide to punt after bleeding the clock. To pin the Tide deep and get the halftime down just 7. Meyer knocks it high, and the fair catch made at the 11-yard line by Drake. We'll stay tuned for the BMW halftime report. John Saunders, Mark May, and Mac Brown, the new team on ABC this fall. They'll have scores and highlights from a wild and busy opening Saturday of the season.
With the way Coker's been throwing the ball, Alabama's still 3 timeouts. I know they're pinned back, but he's been pinned back a lot in the first half, and he's had success moving the ball. So I think depending on how these first couple plays go will dictate whether or not they get aggressive. My guess is they start thinking about at least trying to get in field goal range for Adam Griffith. Remember, Wisconsin deferred, and they do get the ball to start the second half.
The plan wasn't really set in stone, and we thought we might see Cooper Bateman spelling Jay Coker at this point, but it's hard to take 14 out of there.
Not right now. The guy's been playing well. 9 of 11, 130 yards. I don't know if you want to take that rhythm that he's picked up here out of the game right now.
He's under center with Henry behind him and Howard in motion. Play action. Coker looking downfield. Fires deep. Stewart over his head. And Sojourn Shelton, the corner who has been urged to play with more passion, more enthusiasm, and more risk this year. You don't usually tell a corner that.
How about Dave Aranda saying a little over a minute to go in the first half that we got him pinned man-to-man without any safety back there?
That's a lot of trust in number 8.
That is a lot of trust, and you've got 2 corners for Wisconsin. It frees up Dave Aranda to say, you know what, both these guys have started for 3 years. Both of them can play man-to-man, but I was surprised you didn't see any safety help back there, no matter how good they are in coverage.
In this shotgun, Coker fires far side. The catch made there. Stewart tried to hurdle a man. So it's third down.
And Nick Saban standing right next to Lane Kiffin when it comes to managing the clock, and he just kind of put his hands up right there to Lane. He is helping dictate every single thing that's going on right now as far as whether that's it. We're good. We'll kill the clock. That's it. When the head man says,
we took one shot down.
Shut it down.
Stop the clock.
Shut it down. That's it. Pack him up. Head into the shower. Heather's ready. Who's Heather going to talk to? We're ready for half.
It is a fascinating sideline dynamic. A former NFL head coach. Both of them actually are. Play clock all the way down to 1 when they snap it and give it to Drake. He wants to just stay in bounds and does fall down. And the Badgers could stop it, and they do with 14 seconds. Force a punt. There was a polite interaction between those two. It gets a little testy sometimes.
The competitive spirit, right? They both have it.
But guess who wins that one?
Every time.
There's a first 3 and out for either team. You know, last time we were here, Kirk, Ohio State, Oregon playing at a frenetic tempo. So far tonight, Badgers have run 28 plays. Bama's run 30. NFL style.
Right.
Slow ball. Not a good kick.
Oh, you know, he's as good as he was last year. He's not had a great camp. I mean, when I'm saying not a great camp, I don't mean 1 or 2 days. He's had I don't know if he's got something going on in his mind. He couldn't have punted any better a year ago. A bad August, and it continues now in the opener.
Yeah.
You could see his
He could have won the guy as a
face.
freshman. It was that 48 yards at punt last year.
This has been going on throughout camp. He knew right away. And we talked about the yips a little bit with Stavi and how he had to overcome that. You wonder when it comes to kicking and punting sometimes how they have to deal with that.
The Badgers got 9 seconds to work with. They don't have too far to go to get in Gallinoni's field goal range. They've got the 1 timeout. Stavi takes a shot. Downfield. Leaping catch by Erickson at the 15. They'll spend their last timeout with 3 seconds to go and perhaps steal 3 points before halftime after the shank.
Well, this is a great ball. And look to the right how 86 gets right in behind coverage. He snuck right in there behind him, behind the coverage. And a perfectly thrown ball where his most trusted receiver, Erickson, can go up and make the play. Maurice Smith dropped back, but he just didn't quite get deep enough. Stave showing the arm strength, Chris, but also does a good job showing the touch to get, you got to throw that ball with a little bit of velocity, but also some touch. And he made that nice throw.
Erickson's had 5 catches in the first half, and if you think about Joel Stave a year ago when they were playing LSU down in Houston and he was going through those yips and couldn't throw a ball from me to you, some very nice throws so far.
Yeah, I think that's really behind him, and I really believe that Paul Chryst coming in has helped him just put all that behind him and move forward. This is a bonus opportunity for Wisconsin.
Rafael Gaglianone from Brazil from 34. Off the upright. And the Badgers squander a chance to go to halftime with some momentum and only a 4-point deficit. This guy was very reliable a year ago.
You want to upset Alabama, every opportunity that you have, you've got to be able to cash it in. They got a gift, a chance to be able to come up with points and then get the ball to start the second half, and they squandered, missed the opportunity.
So Coker and the Tide will be up 7 at the break. Badgers will get the ball when we come back. The BMW halftime report coming up, and Heather Cox will speak with Paul Chryst right after these messages. A Bay City Rollers remake there. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Wells Fargo. Good play by the defense in this first half here. Wisconsin's going to get the ball to begin the third quarter down by only 7. An efficient start for Alabama's quarterback Jake Coker. But Kirk, Wisconsin, which lost its captain, one of its best defensive players, Michael Caputo, on the second play with a head injury, got to feel pretty good about their defense. Offensively, running game has not done anything.
No, they've not been able to run the football. But the one thing that I think if you go back and think about that scoring drive, it was over 60 yards. It's 7 passes, only 2 runs. And I talked early in the game that they're going to have to throw to set up the run. And on the other hand, I think that'll have to continue in the second half. Jake Coker's been not necessarily a pleasant surprise, but he's been in command. This is a touchdown pass where he does a good job of being patient, reading the defense. 2 defenders take 1 guy. It opens it up underneath for Foster. And he gets him the football where he still has room to make a run upfield to be able to come up with that touchdown. So Coker off to a good start. We talked early that we thought Cooper Bateman might come into the game, but up to this point, the way Coker has played, you're probably going to see number 14 continue in the second half.
And a senior from Mobile has waited a long time for his first start for a big program. Heather?
Yeah, Kirk and Chris, I can answer your question. I just spoke to Nick Saban, who said, yes, we will go with Jake Coker to start this third quarter. As to whether or not we will see Cooper Bateman, he said, I don't know if or when we will see him in the second half. Defensively, look for Alabama to do a better job on third down. He said, we have got to get off the field on third down. We've also got a couple mismatches. Offensively, he said, I like the decisions that we've made in the passing game. We've just got to convert a little bit more on those good plays.
I think a lot of Bama fans would say he has been a pleasant surprise, Coker, given the concern coming out of camp. Jamerson will try it from inside the end zone. And the kickoff returners have had a tough go tonight. Excellent coverage for both sides. Taking a look at today's AT&T strong performance.
It's the quarterbacks. We talk Stave. Numbers aren't necessarily huge for 14 to 16, but both quarterbacks have avoided making mistakes. A lot of it is more of a high percentage throws for both these guys. Both the Paul Chryst from Wisconsin, Lane Kiffin from Alabama done a good job of putting him in a position where it's been safe. We'll see if that continues in the second half. At some point, you're going to have to take a few more risks. Remember, Wisconsin, better success dinking and dunking on 1st and 10 instead of running into that wall.
Stave in his 29th start has been sharp throwing the ball. They'll give it to Clement, who had some carries early in the game, and most of them resulted in just like that. Not much against that physical front.
That's not open for business tonight up to this point. The boys up front from Alabama, they are locked in on 6.
The bad news is, Kirk, they keep rolling fresh bodies in. This is as deep a defensive front as there is in the country, so those linemen keep facing these fresh 300-pound bodies rolling at them. And big linebackers like Ragland. There's a second down throw quickly behind Ogunbowale. He couldn't come up with it, and Stave was under a little heat there. It's 3rd and long.
He felt the pressure from the corner off to his right. The corner blitz. He wanted to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. This time, again, when you're throwing most of your routes 8 to 10 yards, the defense is not respecting anything downfield. And there have not been a lot of attempts by Wisconsin downfield. So the linebackers and the safeties start to squeeze at that 5 to 8. Like I said, 5 to 8 to 10 yards makes it a very, very tough thing to be able to execute and complete passes.
Badgers 4 of 7 on 3rd down so far as the Tide show pressure. Play clock at 3. Stave hurries it, loops the throw, incomplete. And a flag does come in along that Wisconsin sideline. They were looking for it. Marlon Humphrey was in coverage.
This has everything to do. We talk all the time with our colleagues up in the booth with the officials. If you don't turn your head around and find the football, and this time Humphrey does not do that, you're always going to get called if there's any kind of contact at all. See his head?
15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Never turned around to locate the football. Good call by the official downstairs.
Kirk, that's the first time tonight they've targeted Tanner McAvoy, their opening day starter a year ago, who played some safety in the spring, then shifted over to wide receiver. He's really the guy they feel is best equipped to win one-on-one battles, and Stave finally takes a look for him.
Takes a shot, and Humphrey did not play the football, and when you're not playing the ball, it makes it pretty easy for the guys to make the right call.
So Bama's had offensive and defensive pass interference penalties tonight. This is Taiwan Deal again. Nothing there. He's body slammed to the ground by Darren Lake. a backup nose guard who could start for a whole lot of teams.
And Lake plays, talking to Kirby Smart even this morning, and they're going to put Lake in there more when they feel that Wisconsin goes to their heavy package, because he's good at the nose guard and it frees up the other guys to move to the edge. He's good at that Terrence Cody hold the point of attack. That time he did more than just hold the point of attack. He got off of it and showed some quickness to be able to close in on the ball carrier.
On 2nd and 8, feels the pressure again and goes down. The Tide converging there. Jaron Reed and Jonathan Allen, 2 defensive ends.
But if you look at this initially, it looks like the pressure's coming from here. But in fact, he drops and the pressure comes from here. And it caught Stave. Also, it catches the offensive line by surprise. So a little bit of the zone pressure there. And when Alabama knows you're going to throw, they are going to change things up and challenge the communication between that offensive line.
3rd and 16. Screen. Ogunbowale hit for a loss as Reuben Foster was all over him. And the Badger offense goes backwards after the penalty.
Reuben Foster is out there because of his athletic ability and the way he can play in space. It's an area that Alabama is really focused on getting better with the linebackers, being able to make reads like this and then get right through the blocks and be able to close in on the receiver. Great job of recognition and then the speed to accelerate in the open field by the Bama linebacker Foster.
Serious explosiveness by the junior from Auburn to get the ball carry. A very low punt may have been deflected, bouncing around, and the Badgers avoid a disaster and down it at the 43. Let's see if that did get deflected. It came flying in there on Meyer. Buckeyes and the Hokies, the Bedlam of Lane Stadium over on ESPN, 8 o'clock on Labor Day night. We invite you to join us there.
I think he felt the pressure and he stopped following through. I don't know if anybody actually touched the football. Watch his right leg as it comes through. He's feeling it. He just kind of stops it. Should have kept that leg up and fallen down.
It was just a skull 2-iron there. It wasn't touched at all. They got a pretty good roll out of it, though. Bama finally has good field position, and Coker immediately looks downfield, loops the ball, and incomplete. So they've taken a couple of deep shots, but they haven't been able to convert. Ardarius Stewart was out there, and again, Shelton in coverage.
Interesting call by Lane Kiffin. First play, they go right after Dakota Dixon, who is in there for the leader, Caputo. He's out there in coverage by himself. Alabama feels the favorite throw that Coker has, like a lot of big, strong-arm quarterbacks, is throw it as high and as deep as you can and let the receiver run underneath it. That time, he may have let go of that one a little bit late, and he underthrew it, but he was open.
Henry. A burst up the middle. Derrick Henry. His 2nd touchdown tonight. And Alabama back up 2 touchdowns.
By the action, watch the linebackers right here hesitate with the action, and then he's just going to follow the right guard around to be able to pick up a big block. The safeties, the linebackers hesitate just a little bit, and it's a missed tackle by the undersized safety, Musso, and off to the races goes the big fella.
Henry averaging more than 13 yards on his 10 carries tonight, and a couple of touchdowns, and the Badgers are in a 2-touchdown hole early 3rd. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Official aerial provider of Saturday Night Football. But one run can change things quickly. And Derrick Henry, when he gets those 242 pounds rolling downhill, And a safety, Musso, Kirk, you pointed out, about 55 pounds lighter. That's a mismatch.
Yeah.
And Henry won that one.
Howard with a huge block there. It was just really well executed. But if you don't slow him down as he's coming downhill, he's got some speed. He's going to pull away from people.
Jamerson this time will take a knee. Cassidy Hubbard with an update from the studio.
Thanks. Let's take a look at who's getting it done, presented by Wells Fargo, Texas and Notre Dame. Malik Zaire with a 66-yard touchdown, airing it out to Will Fuller. Fuller's second TD of the game. Zaire, 14 of 16, 231 yards, 2 TDs. Back to you.
Irish are getting it done fast and furious, scoring against the Longhorns. Sam is struggling on offense tonight. So the Badgers find themselves down 2 touchdowns for the first time. Corey Clement has yet to break free. They fake it to him and now throw it short, and the catch is made by Derek Watt. He's been held in check very well tonight. Eddie Jackson on the tackle.
Again, I'm just a big fan of that 1st and 10 play action pass, dumping it out to Watt. I think it breaks that tendency to run the football. You're not having a lot of success on 1st and 10, and again, it's just so important, especially on this drive, to give them a chance. Gets them to 2nd and 6.
Stavi, ball knocked down, deflected at the line of scrimmage. He was looking for Erickson, and the deflection made by big Dalvin Tomlinson.
Now they have 17 yards rushing right now, so it's no wonder. Look at that push that they're getting. When you can't get there, that's what Kirby Smart and Nick Saban want to see. How do you impact a quarterback? Knocking the ball down, getting him off his point. Anything you can do to try to just have an impact on that passing game. And that time, the big fella gets in there, Tomlinson, and knocks that ball down, set up this big 3rd down.
Yeah, they need 6, or else Bama's going to get the football back. Low snap. Stavi scrambling off the hands of Erickson, but that was messed up from the start. And here comes the Badger punt.
There's that blitz package from Alabama. They show pressure from one side. Sometimes they come, sometimes they drop. That time they dropped. And I think, again, they're affecting the offensive line. See, the blitz looks like it's coming from the right. It ends up, actually, the twist comes from the left. Play never had a chance, but with Volts to center, he's thinking about trying to get the call right. By the time he snaps the ball, that's a bad snap, and the movement, when they get you to 3rd down, has a bigger impact on not just the play itself.
Here's the punt. Taken. And Cyrus Jones, a nice return, and the Tide is going to start in Wisconsin territory. Leading by 14. The Tide take over in plus territory in that Badger defense, Kirk, which did a pretty good job all night until that Henry 56-yard touchdown run. Now really has to make a stand. Try to keep this thing within reach. It's Drake coming in motion. Coker fakes it to him and now fires, and another catch along the sidelines. A flag comes out as Mullaney collected it near the 30. Signaling against Wisconsin. So they'll take the play.
Offside, number 47, defense. The penalty is declined. The play resulted the 1st down.
So Vince Beagle got in there too early.
It's a different offense without Blake Sims. You're going to see the motion come here. Here's your receiver where he shows like he's going to block, and then he just slips down. It's another way that Lane Kiffin wants to try to exploit this defense. Show and block, gets behind the coverage, and a nice little bubble there. It's, again, mixing in the power running game with this passing attack.
Coker again looking downfield. Not a runner, but has plenty of room and takes off and dives for a 1st down at the 21. First time he's run the football tonight.
he shows some athletic ability. Watch the running back, Derrick Henry. Boom! Right there. He takes on that blitzing linebacker, and that's what gave him enough time. And then Henry doesn't give up on the play from T.J. Edwards.
The running back's bigger than the linebacker in that case. Pads popping there. Now Henry hammers forward again for a nice first down.
You know what's great about that is Derrick Henry is going to get most of his attention from the media and from us about running the football. You know, you score touchdowns and you pull away from people. That's what people talk about. It's another, there's that block by Howard, frees him up, and there's the speed for the big guy. But he also willing to get involved in pass protection, really just becoming a complete back, which is what they need.
Numerous flags before the snap.
False start. Number 94, offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Put a ball at the tight end. Now, if you can't block the blitz, you're not going to be trusted to be an every down back.
No, but
Henry's complete.
You know, a lot of times, guys, in today's day and age, they're so successful as runners that they don't always pay attention to that aspect of the game. Pass pro are willing to be unselfish, and Henry is that kind of guy. He wants to be involved in everything.
I don't think he minds contact, however it happens.
No, it's not so much contact, it's the mindset of knowing who's blitzing. That time, Alabama moved the left tackle, Cam Robinson.
So back-to-back false starts, pushing the Tide back after they'd gotten down to the 21. Henry with 131 yards, again on 11 carries. 2 long touchdowns, 1 on a 4th down play. 2nd and 17. And you flip it short out of the hands of Ardarius Stewart. Incomplete. This will frustrate Kiffin and Saban because they were moving down to the 21-yard line. The 2 penalties. Incompletion, and now it's 3rd and 17. Not nearly as comfortable field goal range.
No, and really the execution. You get spoiled with an Amari Cooper on those kind of plays. How many times last year did you see Amari Cooper catch that kind of ball, and the ball was just always put right there?
Drake, a 3rd down run. A flag comes in again in the holding zone as Shelton brings down the ball carrier. Tide are killing themselves here. It's a holding call, a 3rd penalty in the last few plays.
Holding. Number 71, offense. 10-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Ross Pierce-Baker, one of the new starters on that offensive line, a freshman from Iowa.
Actually, Pierce-Baker and Taylor, Jackson, 3 guys up front, holding their own. It's been a pretty physical battle. When these 2 teams play anybody, it's usually a pretty physical battle in the trenches, especially when they go head-to-head against each other.
Oh, 3 penalties now. They were down to 21. Now they're back to the 38. They need 27 yards on this 3rd down. Henry and Drake both in the game. And now they motion Drake. Coker flips it short to Henry. He has some blocking. And he'll be knocked down way short of the marker.
It's almost like who wants to hit him? When he's running full speed, it's like who dares to step in front of him? It's like the big guy. I always say those big backs are like the big guy in 8th grade out on recess. Is running free, and somebody's got to jump on his back. They did get back into field goal range there.
They did. Adam Griffith, subject of a terrific story on College Game Day by Jim Wojciechowski this morning. We urge you to seek it out on Twitter. He is a true survivor. Born in Poland, lived in an orphanage, and then adopted by Michelle and Tom Griffith in Alabama. From 44. Yeah, Adam hooked that one and was very reliable for most of last season, so disappointment there. But perspective, no doubt, given what Griffith has been through. So the Tide still up by 14, midway third.
Over on ESPN. Chris, back to you.
This has been a great start for the Pac-12 conference, which entered this season with lots of hype. People saying that maybe that had overtaken the SEC as the deepest conference. Badgers from the 26. Fake it, and Savi's pass again batted down as those big Tide defensive linemen. It's Tomlinson in the mix again. They've got it a couple of passes.
Get some hand-eye coordination going on down there. Second time he has timed that up perfectly. 6'3", 295 pounds. Part of that rotation up front of keeping those bodies fresh.
Savi's a 6'5" quarterback. He's really a short guy.
See,
a lot of traffic in the middle. A lot of traffic. On the Alabama sidelines, Kurt, Cooper Bateman, the sophomore, Utah is warming up. You thought we'd see him. He brings a different skill set, a little more mobile. He's actually the holder. And our kicker in the booth, our spotter Mike Buff, going crazy because he thinks that Bateman didn't spin the laces away from Griffin. He's putting that on the holder, that last miss.
I think Blackie's pretty accurate, but Cooper Bateman may get a chance to go out there and take some snaps as a quarterback for the first time in his career at Alabama.
He's been a very reliable holder, but he's waited to play quarterback, and we'll see if he gets a chance.
Remember, Volts the center trying to communicate where's the blitz coming from. Everybody be on the same page.
Erickson had it off his hands. Well defended there by the true freshman Fitzpatrick. Fourth down. Minkah Fitzpatrick, New Jersey's top prep player, one of the top DB recruits in the country. He's just gotten the attention of all the vets in camp. He's going to be a star.
Well, he's the next great one. I mean, they have had some great corners and safeties over the years. And watching him play even in camp, I went to one of their scrimmages, and he was probably the guy that stood out the most to me.
He had some funky punts and some missed kicks tonight. Meyer gets a pretty good punt, and there's excellent coverage as Cyrus Jones is spun down at the 33. This week on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball, National League playoff race heats up. Pirates face the Cardinals. You talk baseball, Kirk. You love the pennant race.
Well, I'm a National League Central guy, being a Reds fan, but baseball season ended for me around the middle of May. So it's been a long summer for me as a Red Legs fan.
You want to talk about being a Rockies fan? And before May, I think.
They can hit the ball, right? Just can't pitch.
They got part of it down. Well, Coker's still going to go in at quarterback, so we'll wonder if Bateman was just being optimistic in warming up. We'll see him.
Well, Coker hasn't done anything.
The intent was to play two quarterbacks.
Yeah, but Coker really hasn't done anything to make you say, well, they got to give the other guy a shot. But at some point, it wouldn't surprise me to see him get out there.
That's a little pop pass, and this is Drake. Breaks a tackle, gets the edge, and you can see the explosive skills of Kenyon Drake. He's going to be marked out at the 47.
Watch 74, the left tackle, get out front and lead this. You're going to see a great look at it right there. He's 10, 15 yards downfield, and that's a different feel when Drake gets the football. I mean, we got to go back and look at that. I'm telling you.
Oh, man. It's a road grader.
He was 20 yards downfield.
Orlando Pace style.
That's what it reminded me of. Yeah.
Well, he's going to be playing on Sundays for a long time. Cam Robinson, just a sophomore, but a freak, just born to play left tackle, right? First down as the Tide try to chew some clock and build the lead. Play clock was at 1 when they snapped it, and Drake is going to be stopped for a loss as a flag comes in. Coker's pleading his case.
Well, we're just about to brag about Cam Robinson, and he actually grabbed a Wisconsin defender around the neck that time.
It is holding. Well, we praise the big fella. You got to call their name when he called for holding, too.
Holding, number 74, offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Maybe he was winded from going 20, 25 yards downfield.
Is that a new thing? We put their face and name up there for a penalty?
Check. He's right here. Looks like Sitchy gets inside of him. He just grabbed a hold of him.
First and 20. It's Drake in the pistol. Coker over the middle. Howard, the tight end, running free and diving for a first down at the Badger 40. This is why he's such a dangerous weapon in the Bama offense now.
And without Michael Caputo, again, not just run support, but in here in the middle of the defense. Just a quick throw behind the linebacker in front of the safety. And Howard picks up the first.
Now the Tide showing some tempo. Coker again throws it short. Stewart, another first down quickly. They recover from the holding penalty and move it to the 25.
And right now, Wisconsin getting exposed in coverage with those two linebackers, Edwards and Jacobs. Caputo not in there to help with communication. They found a weakness. There's Caputo, who's out probably with a concussion. He had a big hit early in this game. An all-conference safety that's been out the entire football game, and the other safeties have had to try to pick up the slack. But right now, they're going after the safeties and backers.
Drake makes a cut. Gets the edge and dives down near the 12, and the Tide can smell blood. Another first down.
Completely different style of running back when Kenyon Drake gets his hands on the ball. You got to deal with the power running downhill, and then kind of a scat back. Watch the vision, the jump cut. Look how loose he is and able to get around defenders with that great vision.
Coker flips it into traffic, and the play nicely broken up by Edwards. Alabama offense, as you pointed out, Kirk, was so much to replace from last year, but you can see that besides Henry, which we expected, a big game, and Drake, the playmakers are still there. It's up to Kiffin to find mismatches and use them. Henry breaks a tackle, powers down inside the 5. It'll be first and goal.
They are moving bodies all over the place, and it really affects the eyes of the defense. And then you've got to deal with, by the time you figure it out, it's Derrick Henry running downhill right at you as a linebacker.
And they're running quickly. In the pistol on first and goal. Henry again looking for the hat trick, and he gets it. Bama up by 3 scores.
He's been doing this all night, but watch this center, Ryan Kelly, pick up the nose guard, work up to the linebacker, opens up the hole for Derrick Henry. Ryan Kelly has had a great night, as he always does, for this Alabama offensive line, the anchor and the leader of that group up front.
Kelly told me, I got to be perfect. That's how he takes his job, and maybe not perfect, but close to it tonight, as that Tide O-line opening some creases, and number 2 muscling in for his 3rd touchdown this evening. Celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to the participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarships. No field goals tonight, 2 missed, but a bunch of touchdowns for the Crimson Tide, 3 of them by Derrick Henry, the junior out of Florida, the guy who rushed for, only 46-21 his senior year in high school. That's it. In the end zone, Chamberson's had no success as a returner. Finally, he's going to get loose. This is the best kickoff return for either team tonight. Now across the 30. Let's take a look at this week's AP rankings, brought to you by Goodyear. Of course, the preseason top 10. Ohio State, a unanimous number 1. That had been unheard of, and we'll see them in 2 nights in Blacksburg. Alabama came in preseason number 3, even with all the question marks on this offense. TCU escaping at Minnesota. Baylor got a battle for a while before pulling away against SMU. Kirk, your reaction on what you've seen from the top 10 in a minute here, as the Badgers now face serious urgency. 5:08 in the 3rd quarter, and Stadio's going to look downfield, loops the ball for Watt, but he was well covered, too well covered, as a flag comes in. It was Sean Dean Hamilton, the linebacker, in coverage, and Bama's claiming it was a push-off. Offensive interference. Saban out on the field to plead his case.
Pass interference. Defense number 20. 15-yard penalty.
Nick didn't win that argument. Another look.
He's upset. He feels that Watt was actually pushing back. That's what he's fired up about.
This is a Big 12 crew, and some fans of the Big 12 believe that their officiating crews are kind of pass happy for pass interference calls. The numbers don't really bear that out. And then to Taiwan Deal. In fact, you've looked at all the conferences. There's not a huge difference in terms of how they call pass interference, how tight it is.
As far as running the football, this is pretty much what it's been like for Wisconsin, with the movement up front, just nowhere to go. This quarter alone, -3 yards coming into this drive. And for the game, Chris, 17 yards rushing.
Second down throw, short again. Watt makes the catch, breaks the tackle, 2 yards short of the marker. It'll be 3rd and 2.
It's hard enough to move the ball against this Alabama defense tonight for Wisconsin, but when you get down like this, they know what's coming. You know, they're sitting over there. They're thinking about, okay, how can we get pressure on Stavi? That's all they're thinking about, and Paul Chryst knows that. So it's all about not just trying to complete a pass. It's about getting the ball out of that quarterback's hands as fast as you can and execute it.
And Badgers got the ball, Kirk, to begin the quarter, down only 7. They've had 5 yards total offense in the 3rd quarter. You need 2 here. Ogunbowale is the back. You fake it to him, some confusion, nearly a collision. Now he collects the short pass, and Ogunbowale inside the 40 nearly knocked his quarterback.
Well, the quarterback, I think, wanted to maybe get around the edge. Bumps into him, a little miscommunication. He wanted to get outside of it, but he's still able to regain his balance and get the ball out into the flat. He also had Erickson downfield. It's about the only consistent success they've had is the backs up against the linebackers in man coverage.
And even then, they really haven't gotten fit for big gains.
No, I mean, you're talking about a 4 or 5 yard gain.
It's play action on first. Then again, they flip it short. It's Watt, and another very short gain. They just close it down quickly. That's Marlon Humphrey, a corner on the fullback.
Without a true vertical threat, without somebody that can get downfield, and they hope as the year progresses that maybe Tanner McElroy can become that guy. But we've not seen much of an opportunity at all tonight against this Alabama secondary, and because of that, it just makes it so much easier for Bama's defense to focus on those underneath routes. So you might catch it, but you're going to gain 2, 3, 4 yards.
I'm surprised that McElroy hasn't had an impact. He's been nursing a hamstring. Maybe that's one of the reasons. But we thought we'd see him used as a weapon tonight. Stave fires across the middle. Catch made. It's a first down inside the 25-yard line as they get it to Traylor, the tight end. It's his 3rd catch.
Time the linebackers cleared out with all those underneath throws. Reggie Ragland and the Alabama linebackers took all those routes, and it opened it up, and he had enough time that time to get the ball thrown behind them to the tight end Traylor.
So a drive that for the Badgers almost has to result in 7 points. Remove the chains. Stave straight back again, a very short flip to Ogunbowale. They've done that so often, as you pointed out, on first down, get 4 or 5 yards with a short pass.
Yeah. Bama's going to become a different defense. You see the changes that they make right now. You get inside that red zone, and you're going to start to see more and more defensive backs in the game.
Talk about a defense that was embarrassed by Ohio State. The Buckeyes ran for 281 in the Sugar Bowl. Wisconsin tonight has 17 rushing yards. Stave. Some miscommunication as Fumagalli, the tight end, hadn't turned around, and Eddie Jackson was in tight coverage. So it's 3rd down.
Yeah, they brought both the 2 inside linebackers. The first time we've seen the big guy, Ashawn Robinson, get pressure. 86. 2 linebackers coming up the middle. Right through there, and then you see Robinson right here, the big guy, 86, who probably gets his most recognition of any of the defensive linemen. Stavi's sitting right in there, and these receivers, again, he doesn't have a lot of time to hold on to that football. You better get your head turned around as quickly as you can.
Tide have 2 sacks, but they're beginning to get consistent pressure now on Stave. Showing a blitz look on 3rd and 6. Here they come again. Gets it away. One-on-one coverage on the outside, and again can't get it to McAvoy because Cyrus Jones was all over him.
Well, he wanted to actually throw that as a back shoulder fade, where the receiver knows when the ball is coming. Watch the eyes of McAvoy, the receiver. He's waiting for the ball to be thrown, but instead of being thrown closer to the sideline, he throws it into the middle of the field, and it made it easy for Cyrus Jones to just knock the ball away.
So a field goal attempt. Gallinone 0 for 1 tonight. Hit the upright just before halftime. That was from 34. This from 38. And a whistle before the snap.
Ball start. Number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So now back them up 5 and make it a longer field goal attempt. You would like the call that Christ is going for a field goal just to try to cut it to 18. They would have needed 6 yards on 4th down there.
You know, it's easy to sit up here and say, what are you doing? You need 3 touchdowns. We're getting late in this game. You wonder if it's just about this game, or is it about trying to, at week 1, trying to continue to just grow as a team and kind of establish some confidence. But I personally go for it.
Well, it's a 43-yarder, and Gallinone just slides it through. So with 1:05 to go in the 3rd quarter, the Badgers do get 3, but they got to get a few service breaks. They got to get that Bama offense off the field there.
Impressive performance tonight to me by Alabama. This is a team that came in and had a lot of question marks on offense, and up to this point, Jake Coker has played flawlessly, not turning the football over, making good decisions, has been patient in the passing game. You combine that with the physical running of Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake coming in to kind of give you a little spark, something a little bit different. We wondered who would replace Amari Cooper, who would replace T.J. Yeldon, who was going to replace Blake Sims. Well, tonight against a pretty good Wisconsin defense, they've really settled in, and have Lane Kiffin's put together a great game plan.
Put it in perspective, Coker, again, the only quarterback in that 5-man competition that had any experience in a game. You know, came from Florida State, transferring with a lot of expectations that he could perhaps beat out Blake Sims a year ago. It didn't happen. It's been interesting. You know, if this guy had played like this, frankly, in scrimmages and taken care of the ball and made sound decisions, he would have been named the starter probably in spring.
Yeah.
There wouldn't have been this quarterback debate, but with the lights on tonight, he's done some good things.
He's taken a huge step in the right direction. And the thing with him is you would watch him in practice, even in Florida State, and you'd be blown away by how big an arm he had and how big he was. And this is the first time we've had a chance to see him in a game and play the way he has.
Drake from 8 yards deep will take a knee.
Let's take a look at tonight's All-State good hands play of the game tonight. Got to give Ryan Kelly a lot of credit. I love to see him use those hands with the nose guard and then up to the linebacker. Then that last touchdown, same thing. Work the nose, climb to the 2nd level, get that linebacker out of the way. And Derrick Henry's got to love having Ryan Kelly, the experience that he brings to the table, and knowing every single time. You said he's a perfectionist. And the guy that gets to have the rewards is not just Kelly, but of course Henry.
Remember, he got hurt against Ole Miss, and they really struggled to run the ball when Kelly wasn't in there last year. Now we are going to see Cooper Bateman. He's a sophomore, Murray, Utah. And he's going to get his first look, his first college snap for the guy that was very much in competition for the starting job. And he's going to get a chance. Well, he's going to pull it down, and now you can see the element that he brings in the game. He's got a little burst as a runner.
And you know, this is not just mop-up duty. Up 28-10 here, still in the 3rd quarter, Chris. Coker's look great. What's the best thing Cooper Bateman could do in a quarterback battle with the lights on and on the stage? He needs to come in and also perform well to be able to stay in this race and not let Coker run away with it.
Exactly. These are very important snaps. This time they give it to Drake. Bateman comes from Cottonwood High School, which is the alma mater of Gary Anderson, of course, who coached the Badgers last couple of years and took off for Oregon State. Sports program out in Utah.
You're going to see a different attack with Cooper Bateman because of the mobility that Chris and I have talked a lot about tonight. They'll get him on the edge. They'll move him, roll him to the left, roll him to the right. He can pull down and take off, but he can also hit those level routes that Lane Kiffin likes so much.
Final seconds of the third quarter. When they've run 2-minute drills in practice and in scrimmage, it's Bateman who's done the better job, and he seems to be
25 seconds.
Seems to be the quarterback who's more comfortable running tempo, at least in the scrimmages. So that will be the end of the third quarter. A successful quarter for the Tide as they put a couple touchdowns on the board and extend it to an 18-point lead. End of 3 in Arlington. Back for the fourth after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. Well, they gave equal time to the soundtrack here before the fourth quarter. Sweet Home Alabama played first, and then they're playing Jump Around, which is the Badgers' third quarter anthem at Camp Randall. Although I'm seeing quite the same enthusiasm from the folks in bright red that we see at a home game.
Exactly.
Badgers were unbeaten at home last year, but just 4-3 away from Camp Randall. Again, an 18-point hole as we start the final quarter, and Alabama going with Cooper Bateman here as he continues his first series and hands off inside, and Drake took a huge pop and got knocked backwards. He ran into something very sturdy in the middle.
It might have been his own man, Ryan Kelly.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think he got pushed back by the defensive line, and Kelly's been wearing out Wisconsin's defense. This time he wears out his own running back.
A lot of good blocks and a tackle for the center now.
He's all over the field.
See if they give Bateman a chance to throw his first pass. Badgers show pressure up the middle in a zone read look. They flip it very short, and Howard, the tight end, with a stiff arm and a short gain. Schobert shoved him out. It'll be third down.
And again, you can just feel the difference in Bateman. His footwork, way he can get off to the edge, puts a whole different kind of pressure on a defense that's been dealing with Coker for the most part in the pocket. And again, we talked a lot tonight. Coker's had a lot of success, but it's a different way of attacking for Lane Kiffin. Let's see how he does here on third down.
You think he's bothered over there, Jake, that he's not still in the game after playing so well?
I don't think so.
If he is, he better not show it. And Bateman on third down again fires. Nice catch by Calvin Ridley, the talented freshman receiver. First down in Wisconsin territory.
Between Ardarius Stewart, Robert Foster, and Calvin Ridley, these are the receivers that they feel as they gain more and more experience. These are the guys that are going to be able to take that next step and become big-time playmakers off the edge.
Ridley, one of the top receiver prospects in the country. Bateman fires far side. A flag comes in as Stewart is knocked down. Another flag comes in late. Moving the chains. This is going to be on the Badgers. They just pick it up.
Yeah, I think they picked it up. Yeah, he got that ball out, and that's built into the package where if they feel like they've got a matchup and that spread look, Lane Kiffin instructs his quarterbacks, if you see a one-on-one matchup and you got a blocker for the other receiver, go out there and throw the football and just give him a chance. Amari Cooper made a living on that last year with Blake Sims.
And then when the game at tailback is another true freshman, Damian Harris, a five-star recruit from Kentucky, and the Alabama team will take a timeout. There was some confusion in the huddle. So the first drive of Cooper Bateman's college career as Bama tries to add to an 18-point lead. Look at Bama's last 6 seasons. They won 3 national championships in the 4 years, 2009 to 2012. But in 2013 and again last year, lost a couple of games late, and they didn't finish, in their own words. Of course, run over by Zeke Elliott and Ohio State down in New Orleans. They faced 170 more snaps on defense, Saban told me, than the year before. And the defense, he thought, sort of wore down late. It's like playing 2 extra games. Tonight, that defense has not been on the field much. And Bateman throws complete. Ridley knocked out of bounds. Tide fans hoping they see Bateman to Ridley a lot in the years to come.
Again, Bateman, play action, get him on the corner, get him on the edge, away from some of that pressure, a different look. This is where Lane Kiffin brings the formation in. Everybody was in tight, and then it allows him with the play action, the bootleg, to get out wide. This is kind of a staple in a Lane Kiffin offense, whether at USC or anywhere that he has been. And that time, nice job of getting outside, away from the pressure, and then the throw. You can see what they like about Cooper Bateman.
High percentage throws, Kirk, but he's 4 for 4 to start his career. Now this is Ridley in motion. We'll try to see what the freshman can do in a game. He's obviously impressed on the practice field.
Yeah, he's had some chances. You know, speaking of freshmen, Damian Harris, who the coaches really like, 34, has had a great camp. He is now in the game as well. And I think, based on what I saw of him in a scrimmage, as this season goes on, as good as Henry and Drake are, don't lose sight of the importance of Damian Harris. I think he could become a real player. You know, he's a true freshman in this offense and somewhere fit into the rotation.
That's a running back that Urban Meyer really wanted for Ohio State. And they tackle him for a short gain. We're seeing a lot of the young guys for Alabama who are part of these highly touted recruiting classes now get some game action with the lead at 18. 3rd and 7. Drake replacing Harris. Harris had a knee injury his senior year, but a very productive career. One of the top running back recruits coming out.
Spent the last 3 weeks going up against the #1 Alabama defense. He's probably looking forward to the regular season, getting away from that front seven.
Bateman looking for Drake, and incomplete. Drake hadn't turned yet.
It was a wheel route, Chris, and Joe Schobert that time ran with him and completely took Drake out of the play, and Cooper Bateman locked in on him. It was either going to be throw it there or take off and run. There was just not another option for Bateman. So good coverage by Schobert. He had nowhere to go with the football.
So Bateman moves the team 53 yards in 10 plays and stays in as the holder now for Adam Griffith. Missed from 44 earlier, this from 39. Play clock is at 2 as they get it down. They missed the first one left. This one is just wide right. So Adam Griffith, who made his first 7 kicks a year ago before he got hurt and had a slump, misses his first 2 of this season. Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week. The lead is still 28-10 for Bama. We got folks in a lot of houndstooth on one side. We saw the red and white striped overalls over on the Wisconsin side. Into the second meeting between these two schools. The first 87 years ago in Madison. There was a Badgers 15-0 shutout. Stave wanted to look downfield, now flips it over the middle. A low throw, and it bounced before it got to the receiver there. Dalvin Tomlinson, who's batted down a couple of passes, was in there pressuring.
One of the things we always look at with big-time college football is people love to argue the SEC, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and really all you have to go by is the postseason and the non-conference schedules that these teams play. And we'll have to see how everything tallies up at the end of the night. But this is a Big Ten SEC matchup, and we saw some of that in the postseason last year where Wisconsin played well against Auburn and Ohio State played well against Alabama. But tonight, Alabama sending a pretty good message to a team that many people think will get to Indy.
Stave hit and hammered. Pressure from the freshman quarter, Minka Fitzpatrick, and then the big fellas cleaned it up.
Yeah, they do a good job of bringing the pressure off from the right. I'm telling you, this guy is going to be a superstar, the next great corner. They've got him playing nickel now because of this. He's physical for a true freshman. 6'1", about 195 pounds, out of New Jersey. Went down to Tuscaloosa. They say he's a student of the game. He's not just physically gifted. He wants to learn everything that Mel Tucker, who's now coaching the secondary, has to offer.
Mel Tucker, the Bears defensive coordinator the last couple of years, spent a long time in the NFL. 3rd and 21. And the Tide rush forward, but still getting Stavi's face, and he fires high. They are teeing off on the quarterback now. Reggie Ragland came in, and 252-pounder hammered the quarterback. There's a flag. It's back in the
Personal foul. Chop block on number 61 and number 23 offense. The penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
Yeah, you're Joel Stavi. You're looking out. They're rushing 4. You got a chop block, right, Chris? And there's nobody getting separation. And there's nobody open. You're looking at crimson jerseys, and then he gets drilled by Reggie Ragland, despite the chop block.
Ragland preseason All-American, looks like it tonight.
A lot like Dante Hightower used to be, a linebacker. Then they get you to 3rd down, puts his hand down as a rush guy, as a defensive end. Should have a huge year for him.
Myers punt. He's taken in plus territory. And Cyrus Jones trying to create some space and get wide. Couldn't quite break the tackle there on the edge, but sets Alabama up at the 42. Now a very late flag flying in. It was after the play was dead, and back judge threw it.
It was really late.
Ragland told me he was really looking forward to this kind of game.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 14 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. 1st down, Alabama. Timeout.
Because it's a physical test that Wisconsin provides. He prefers this to those spread offenses, and he's shown why tonight. Gone from daylight to nightlight, the Goodyear blimp. Everything that Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. The official aerial provider of Saturday Night Football. Begin to reflect on some big picture stuff, just what the opening Saturday and opening weekend so far of the season has meant. Alabama, after that penalty, the dead ball foul after the punt, has the ball at the 27-yard line, trying to build on the lead. Second possession for Cooper Bateman. Nice drive the first time, but field goal attempt just missed. They fake it to Harris. And now flip it to him, but the throw is behind him. He had to turn around and then kind of disrupted everything. Down, no fumble. Harris tackled at the 31. Jack Sitchie got him.
This is an area where Cooper Bateman will eventually be able to grow. He's got a receiver coming right over the middle of the coverage, and he gets back and he's looking left, and he comes off of him too early. You can see right here, you make that throw right there, you've got a big gain. He just came off of him a little bit too quickly, and now you've got a couple white jerseys out there. That's just a misread, and again, being young, he'll go back and look at the film and learn from it.
Harris. The flag comes in as he's knocked down at the 30.
You know, honestly, I think that's an example of why Coker probably got the edge. Bateman is making good plays so far, but little things like that where Coker, just from being around, having experience probably throughout camp.
75 offense, 10-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
So when it's that small of a difference between Coker and Bateman, you need to get him out in a game to see how they're going to perform. And boy, Coker has really stepped up tonight and shown the coaches what he can do.
Late local news coming up next, except on the West Coast. ESPN Sports Center will have highlights of the busy day. 3rd holding penalty on the Tide. That's something they will not be pleased about when they look at the tape. Bateman on 2nd and very long, takes off and scampers out at the 40. No turnovers tonight for either team, but it's gotten a little sloppy here after halftime. There's so much talk coming into this game about the quarterback position, and you know, in Alabama there's a lot of folks that try to read the tea leaves and get a peek at every practice and draw conclusions, and Saban was very secretive. They don't release really the stats of the scrimmages, Kirk. They didn't allow any of these guys to do any interviews before the opener. There'll still be more conversation, but you got to believe that Coker has certainly established himself. Yeah. Drake spins free. Kenyon Drake has room. It's a block on the edge and tight ropes for a touchdown.
Hey, we talk about Drake and how he's got a burst and he's dangerous in the open field, but you know how that play started? He was wrapped up. Here he shows an ability to get through. Look at that right there. He's down, but he doesn't give up on the play, runs through the arm tackle, and then this is what he's known for. You get into the open field, you try to slow him down. He stays in bounds, but the acceleration down that sideline, he is beautiful out in space.
That came on a 3rd and 26. They get a 43-yard touchdown run. So after Derrick Henry scores 3 times, his backfield mate, the senior Kenyon Drake, joins the party, and the Tide are rolling now up 25. Now we've seen one preseason playoff contender in Alabama. Ohio State, the unanimous #1 in the preseason polls, visiting Virginia Tech with Joey Bosa and 3 playmakers suspended, and Noah Brown, the receiver, who was injured in practice. So it'll be interesting to see how Urban Meyer uses the quarterbacks. There was a scare with Cardell Jones going to the hospital because of a severe headache overnight, released to say he's okay. But there's some interesting issues going into that game Monday night. Hope you'll join us. Jamerson, too deep to bring out.
Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. It's been pretty one-sided, especially in the second half where Alabama has pulled away. It's been a big show tonight by the running back Derrick Henry. A career night, 13 carries, 147 yards. That's averaging 11 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns, a couple long ones. And how about the Bama defense? Look at that, allowed 8 rushing yards against the Wisconsin team with 3 sacks. They have pinned their ears back in the second half and made life miserable on this Wisconsin offense.
Yeah, Badgers, Kirk, just 20 yards total offense after halftime. And Bama has outscored them 21-3 after the break. Erickson comes in motion. They hand it to him. Can he get the edge? Yeah, Erickson showing the speed, finally muscled out near midfield. Heather?
Hey, Chris, you mentioned that we haven't seen much of Corey Clement. The reason why the running back for Wisconsin has a left groin pull, doubtful return, which is definitely frustrating for a player that's already been battling an ab strain and has been chomping at the bit to move from Melvin Gordon's backup into the spotlight this year. He'll have to wait a little bit longer.
It is a disappointment. He was fighting through some pain, an abdominal situation that he had an MRI for, and now a groin that I hope isn't a lingering problem. The LSU game a year ago, Gordon had to leave the game with an injury. They use a wide receiver, Kirk, to get a 25-yard run, by far their longest of the night.
Right. And I happened to look down and watch Nick Saban after that long run as Heather was giving her report, and he was, needless to say, pretty fired up with his secondary for not sealing that edge and allowing Erickson to get to the outside. You know, Nick has been, and sometimes he's tougher in these kind of games, coaching, when he's up by 25 with 7 minutes to go, than the games that are close.
That's a great point. He will never stop coaching. Deal, work in the middle, inside of 7 minutes to go. And what is Paul Chryst trying to accomplish here? The lead obviously out of hand, but what is he trying to build as the Badgers go into a Big Ten schedule, which is frankly very soft? They'll be favored in almost, if not all of their games going forward.
Exactly. I mean, go down their schedule, and we will here shortly, and try to find a game where you'd expect them to be an underdog. There might be one, maybe. We'll have to take a close look at it, but it kind of gives you an idea of what they have left to do. As I said, it's a team that many people think will get to Indianapolis and play in a Big Ten championship game.
They need 3 on 3rd down, and Stavi flips it short. Catch made, and that's getting free for a first down.
To answer your question about if you're Paul Chryst and you're a first-year head coach and you've been here as an offensive coordinator, but this is your first year back in Madison and you're the head coach and you're down 35-10. It's the first game of the year, and as bad as this feels, you want to see who's a foxhole guy. You really are going to learn a lot about who's going to quit, who's going to fight. How does a team respond? Because the eye in the sky, the film, when you break it down, it's going to tell you everything.
Stavi Rowan fires short. Erickson makes, Deal makes the catch, and he's muscled out. Cassidy?
Thanks, Chris. Arkansas State taking on number 8 USC, and Cody Kessler picking up where he left off last season. A 61-yard TD pass to Juju Smith-Schuster. USC up 7-0. Chris, back to you.
Pac-12 could use some good news. Arizona State beaten tonight by A&M, one of the few Pac-12 SEC collisions you get to see. Stavi files far side, and the catch is made. It's Jazz Peavy, a sophomore, making his first catch of the night inside the 15.
Well, there's the arm strength and what the coaches really like about Stavi. To think that Joel Stavi last year was just trying to kind of be able to complete a pass 5 or 10 yards downfield, and now look at that throw. I mean, you're at the right hash, and you're throwing about a 15 to 18-yard outcut towards the boundary. Plenty of arm from Joel Stavi.
Stavi for the end zone. Heavy traffic as Wheelwright was covered in a flag now, and was Minka Fitzpatrick with him, and it'll be interference.
Again, it's about not getting his head turned around and having a chance to play the ball. If you don't play the ball, it's going to be pass interference.
Pass interference, number 29, defense. The ball will be placed at the spot of foul. Automatic first down.
Watch his head. And a very talented young man, Fitzpatrick. Not only the shove, but he never even found the ball. Look at this. Look at this view right here.
Pylon
inside
cam.
The pylon right here. Boom. Uh-oh.
It can take a beating.
Is it alive?
No, it's alive.
It's okay.
Those are the cameras they put in NASCAR cars. They can take a collision. So first and goal, Stavi across the middle, caught for a touchdown.
See, that's what you figure out if you're Paul Chryst. You're not going to come back and win this game, but you like to see your team keep fighting, keep playing to the end of the game. And he just saw that in that drive right there.
Rob Wheelwright, the junior out of Columbus. And they will not stop coaching on that Alabama sideline. That defense gave up the big run to the wide receiver. Pass interference penalty setting up Stavi's second touchdown pass. So, Kirk, we have to avoid the temptation to conclude too much from an opening day, but as you said, there's so few chances sometimes for top programs in the power conferences to square off. So we'll take a look at the Saturday headlines, and Pat Fitzgerald was pumped up. His defense just smothered David Shaw's offense, and they win by 10. You loved what you saw from Josh Rosen at UCLA.
My gosh, for a true freshman who was in for the spring, he played about as well as you could ever imagine a true freshman in his opening game. I mean, 28 of 35, and the throws that he made, wait till you see the highlights. BYU going on the road, a Hail Mary to be able to win in Lincoln.
But Taysom Hill injured.
Taysom Hill out for the year. A tough loss. But the Pac-12, Arizona State, a team that I thought could get to the Pac-12 championship game, maybe even the Final Four, losing today in Houston to A&M. And how about Stanford, we just touched on? Those are two teams that a lot of people felt could be very competitive. Of just a bad day for the Pac-12 and the Big Ten also, not just Wisconsin, but Penn State losing to Temple. Some tough games for some of the high-profile conferences out there.
Texas maybe not expected to win at Notre Dame, but the Longhorns didn't look real good. And Malik Zaire, who takes over a quarterback, as many incompletions as touchdowns tonight. He was 19 of 22. Chris Black will bring it out for now. Just take a knee for the Tide and gets bumped into at the 7-yard line. After the Buckeyes and the Hokies on Monday night on ESPN is the premiere of Scott Van Pelt's nightly Sports Center show at midnight or thereabouts, beginning Labor Day night over on ESPN. Getting back to Wisconsin, they'll have 3 home games: Miami, Ohio, Troy, Hawaii, expected to be 3-1 going into the conference schedule. Iowa is the Big Ten opener. They come to Camp Randall, but the other games from Wisconsin's home schedule: Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern. They visit Nebraska, which is going to be huge in the West. But they don't play anybody from the East.
Miami of Ohio favored. Troy, Hawaii, Iowa at home, at Nebraska. So far favored every game. Purdue at Illinois, Rutgers at Maryland, Northwestern at home. Maybe at Minnesota, rivalry game. They're going to be favored in every game they play after tonight.
Bateman still in the game, and Harris shows some muscle, some hard yards. You know, the FPI, the Power Index, gives Alabama the toughest schedule in the country preseason. Middle Tennessee not a big part of that. They have Ole Miss. That's a ESPN primetime game. It's the SEC opener. Of course, that was a payback opportunity for the Tide after the loss in Oxford.
But look at that. Ole Miss at Georgia, Arkansas at A&M, Tennessee, LSU, at Mississippi State, at Auburn. That's, if you survive that.
Saban will point out that the fans certainly do, that a few Tide opponents have buys the week before they play Alabama, and you get into that gauntlet and face these physical teams. The buys, where they fall, become an important component of the schedule.
That's a good point. And not to mention the bonus round, if they get through all that, they get to go to Atlanta and play in an SEC championship game.
Not so fast, my friend. It's been very difficult to repeat as champion in the SEC West in 20 years
since if they never.
No, I understand. I'm not saying you predict it, but it's just such a tough thing to do, to even win the division back-to-back years and repeat as SEC champions. Got to give a couple decades.
Right. By the way, I just got a text from Lee Fitting saying College Game Day in East Lansing next week for Oregon and Michigan State. You and I will be there as well.
I'll be there in spirit. I'll be there in spirit. There's a tennis thing in New York that I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my bad, man.
But I'll be watching. We'll see if Serena can get to the U.S. Open Women's Final. That'll be in the afternoon. But I will be watching in the morning.
You'll be dying to that.
I understand.
Serena's in the afternoon?
Well, she's not there yet.
Well, she's there. She's Alabama.
That's an afternoon final. The U.S. Open Women's Final. Whoever's in it is in the afternoon.
I'll say she's in.
That'll be fun, obviously.
Who's she going to play?
Azarenka still in it. There's been some
on the other
upsets.
side.
Yeah.
Then who's going to be in the men's final? When's that?
I'm not the prediction guy in tennis any more than I am in football.
Federer, right?
You know, you're going to have Murray and Federer on one side of the draw. Djokovic, obviously, the top seed on the other side.
I'm fired up this week for tennis. I like those night matches from the U.S. Open.
They're fun. I know. You told me you're a week 2 guy. I expect some texts.
You'll have them. I'll be that guy firing away at midnight. Okay. I'll be that guy watching.
So 4:19 to play. You certainly hope that out of this game, Michael Caputo, their captain, their safety, who dove in there to make a tackle on the second play and got a cut to his face, and you can see him right there next to his coach. We certainly hope that isn't a serious injury. He's going to get back on the field after they check him out, because that will be a key for this Wisconsin defense. Harris powering near the marker. They're going to spot it right about the 17 where he needed to get. It is a first down.
Caputo tonight was his 29th career start, all conference last year, and a guy that, you know, with a veteran secondary,
Still trying to be a leader over there.
He's still out there coaching with the concussion. You know, he's involved, but let's hope that he's able to come back. That was a little bit of a scary moment. It was first or second play of the game.
Yeah.
He got hit when he tried to tackle Derrick Henry. He went into the wrong side of the field. He went over to the Alabama huddle.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Play clock running down. Does Bateman see it? Now they saw it on the sideline, and Kiffin calls a timeout. And that's part of the learning curve, too, getting organized out there. There's a flag. Nick says we get the timeout called.
Let's go back to the Caputo injury for people that didn't see this. This is here he has 7 coming up, boom, right there, and he lays flat on the ground, and then he worked his way back to the huddle. His huddle's all the way to the right.
And he still wanted to stay in the game, but the prudent decision made. Such an emphasis as it should be. Player safety, especially involving head injuries. Controversies in several sports, not just football. There's lots of concussions in soccer and hockey, and those sports traditionally have not paid even as much attention to it as you do in football. But that hopefully is beginning to change. We don't know the severity of it, but it was certainly enough for them to flag him and take away his helmet a couple plays into the game.
You know, for Alabama, the big buildup tonight for us in the open and early in this game was they lost so much with Blake Sims and the receivers and T.J. Yeldon. They lost their top 3 receivers. Who would step up? And we did have some guys step up without a doubt tonight.
We're going to officially review the spot. Was he down before he got the first down mark? You can see he hasn't touched yet. He gets a good look. He's still driving those legs. Jim Blackwood is the replay official.
I was just talking about who would step up, and Lane Kiffin has got to be very, very happy with the night from his offense. Jake Coker, great night throwing the football around, making good decisions, avoiding turnovers. Derrick Henry, a couple big runs, ended up with 3 touchdowns. And I think the area where they're going to you're going to see the most growth if they're going to have a special year is going to have to be out at wide receiver with Robert Foster, the freshman Calvin Ridley, and also the sophomore Darius Stewart.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. First down. The game clock will start on my signal.
The spot was corrected. An Alabama team that didn't have a lot of takeaways last year, not nearly enough, only 20 of them. Doesn't have one tonight, but they don't have a turnover either.
Right.
Surprising, really, in an opening game that we've so far had a turnover-free game. And flip it short, and the catch is made by Ty Forney-Smith, the tight end, and a nice gain. So they're making these very comfortable throws for Bateman.
And if you think about Jacob Coker, you think about if he came into this game and laid an egg early, it would open up the door for Cooper Bateman. That's how much pressure was on him to perform well in his first start, as a guy has been sitting around for the last 3 or 4 years, and he stepped up and delivered with that pressure on.
Cassidy Hubbard with the Ford wrap-up after the game. So if you're an Alabama fan, you feel a whole lot better perhaps about the quarterback position than you felt 4 hours ago. The Alabama coaching staff, for that matter.
Yep.
Harris hit in the backfield. Immediate penetration by Vince Beagle, the man of many hairstyles. He carves that W in the side of his head. He said he's going to try a little something different every week here to keep the teammates entertained.
He's the part of the personality of their defense. You know, Beagle is the personality. We talked about Schobert, who's an outstanding outside linebacker on the other side. He's kind of a little bit more low key, but my man can throw it down when it's a slam dunk contest.
That was crazy. Harris again chased in the backfield.
I mean, this the football team had a slam dunk contest, and an outside linebacker said, hey, I can handle this.
Oh, I love the reaction from the team. Let's say they maybe didn't expect to see that from old Joe.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
How many outside linebackers can do that? High school.
Not that many guys in college basketball can do that.
No, that was pretty. 6'2".
He's only 6'2", yeah. He's got to get 236 pounds in the air to do that, too. Now, we talked about when they were in college game day location in the big game at Oregon, Michigan State, top 10 battle on ABC in East Lansing. Notre Dame with some momentum off this performance goes on the road against Virginia. What do you think of the Oklahoma-Tennessee game? You actually like both those teams. You think there's not enough attention being paid to either one, maybe?
And it didn't surprise me, to see Tennessee early have some struggles with Bowling Green. Oklahoma, we'll see. That game is, I think, pivotal for both teams, even though it's a non-conference game.
Bama fans are going to be watching that LSU-Mississippi State game.
Yeah, that's a big conference game there. The Oregon-Michigan State game's great. Both teams up in the hovering around the top 5. We enjoyed that game a year ago, watching that one when Marcus Mariota led the Ducks back. Michigan State was playing well last year out at Eugene early.
Harris again picks his way for a short gain. The Wisconsin defense still scrapping and fighting, and the starters are still out there.
Well, you have to. Remember when we talked about it, you're evaluating constantly. Week 1. I mean, I don't care how good your week 1 is or how bad your week 1 is. It's week 1. And you've got to be able to get ready for week 2 and beyond. And you learn a lot about how your team handles adversity. That's really what makes a team become special, is when they get punched in the mouth and they come through it. You grow together as teammates and coaches when you go through some tough times, and you don't give up. We don't have preseason football in college football.
Scott with the punt, and Erickson fighting hard to get to the corner. Mentioned at the top that AT&T Stadium will be the site of the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, which is one of the semifinal games. The other one is the Orange Bowl. We don't know the time as yet. That'll depend on the matchups, but the focus here in Arlington and in Miami on New Year's Eve, and then Glendale, Arizona for the national championship game on January 11th.
Not only do we not know the times, we don't know which one, right? We don't know which one's first.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, which one's first and second. Could be so used to the Orange Bowl over those years growing up, watching that one late at night.
So Stavi, with 1:11 to go, finds Erickson again. That's been a good combination. They used the backs exclusively early and then got Erickson involved.
And see, here's an example of maybe somebody sitting at home and saying the game's over. What are they doing? We're down 35-17. It's not about trying to score and make the score look more respectable. It's really more about, okay, we're playing Alabama's defense. We have a chance to work our 1-minute offense here to try to get down the field against a really good defense. Let's instead of just killing the clock, let's work. Let's try to get a little bit better.
They fire downfield in heavy traffic. There's the first turnover of the night, and Eddie Jackson is off and running. Knocked down at the 20, and a flag comes in very late. Another one as the safety converted cornerback creates the first turnover of the evening. Stave just throwing it into traffic in desperation.
Playing man
after the interception, illegal block in the back, number 21 of the intercepting team. 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. First down, Alabama.
They're playing man-to-man, Chris, underneath, but both the safeties, Smith over here and Jackson, who ends up making the interception, off to the right. They're just going to sit back and kind of read the quarterback's eyes, playing a little bit of center field, and ball is overthrown. It sailed a bit and right into the hands of Eddie Jackson.
The team that was 70th in the FBS, 11th in the conference with only 11 interceptions, gets their first of the season. And now we're going to get a look at the third quarterback this evening. It's number 11, Alec Morris, a junior from Allen, Texas. So they give the Texas native a few snaps here in the final minute in his home state. Harris is knocked down. That's a nice gesture. He was in there competing. In fact, many people thought that Alec Morris might actually win the starting job. Ended up running third in the competition. But he gets back to his home state. You can say he got in the game.
He did. He you know, they started with 5. They worked their way down to 3 and eventually down to 2. But Alec Morris was battling. He really was. He didn't do anything to hurt himself at all throughout camp. I think at the end of the day, the other 2 may have a little bit higher ceilings with their physical abilities.
And they said this was a solid guy. Really avoided bad plays, which is not easy against Alabama's top defense in practice. Harris shows a burst and gets down near the 25. That'll do it. So Alabama busts open a close game at halftime and overpowers Wisconsin with the running game. Corey Clement really limited. Only had 16 yards rushing and left the game with an injury, which we hope isn't serious. That would be a big concern. And Alabama answers some questions at quarterback and gets a big game from Derrick Henry. Let's go to Heather with Nick Saban.
Chris, thanks so much. Coach, congratulations. What kind of tone does this win set for the season?
Well, you know, I think that in a game like this, you know, you're always going to go back and say, where are we? Where do we need to improve? What are the things we did well? What are the things we need to do better? And there's certainly a lot of things that we could do better in the game. It was a great win for us. Wisconsin's got a good team. You know, I'm really happy with the way our guys competed, and I thought we came out and played really well in the second half.
And, Coach, a big question mark throughout fall camp was your quarterback situation. You said you needed to see game evidence. So what's your takeaway now?
Well, I thought Jake played very well. You know, Cooper probably didn't have the same opportunities as he had, but really pleased with the way Jake played. He made good choices and decisions out there, and, you know, hopefully he'll only get better, and so will Cooper.
And what are your thoughts on a 2-quarterback approach moving forward?
I don't have any right now. I'm just happy to win the game.
And your defense certainly stepped up, especially in the second half. How did you basically render Wisconsin's running game useless?
Well, you know, our guys did a good job up front controlling the line of scrimmage. You know, we made some halftime adjustments on the back coming out. Kind of took that away and batted some balls down and put some pressure on the quarterback. So I was pleased with the way we played until we put the second team in. And I didn't think they competed very well, not at least to our standard.
Coach, congrats on the win. Never satisfied. I love it. Thanks, Coach.
There's Corey Clement, who was really limited. Wisconsin not going to succeed very often, Kirk, when they have 40 yards net rushing, and 25 came from a receiver on one play. Next test for the Tide after a Middle Tennessee State game is going to be a home game against Ole Miss.
And after last year, what a setting that'll be in Tuscaloosa with the Ole Miss, and off to a really good start today. But, you know, Nick Saban just kind of summed it up. He's got to be pleased. He'll go back and look at the film. There are going to be a lot of areas he's very, very pleased, especially with the way the offense was able to step up. But the defense, shutting down a Wisconsin team, I think as the year goes on, you'll see this Wisconsin team put some things together. But that was a great, great start for Alabama in a neutral site football game.
Play to your strength, your defensive front, your offensive line, physical and fast running backs, and a quarterback that didn't make mistakes. Alabama begins what they hope will be a playoff campaign with a nice statement. 35-17 is the final. 8 o'clock on ABC. Kirk and Reese Davis will be in East Lansing as Oregon battles Michigan State in prime time. Interesting Big Ten Pac-12 clash. Time now for the Ford Wrap-Up Show. And back to Cassidy Hubbard.